And away we
Oh,
go.
hello, everybody. Welcome to the Untitled Sickcos project, where we're back for the last division that we're gonna do. We're in the NFC North, and we have a very special guest. But before we get to them, I am, of course, a Bears fan, also known as Chicago Muse, and I will still stand by my statement that hot dog is for old people. And following me are my three co-hosts.
Oh, God. My name is Carsausage, and I plan on uh, fighting Taegan here on the podcast. And if we can't reconcile our differences, we're gonna settle it in the ring like gentlemen.
Yes, hello. I am Nickman. I eat, sleep, wake up again, breathe, and do it all over again. And I am here to watch a Vikings fan and a Bears fan go at it here today.
I never left. I thought I wasn't going to be here, but I'm glad I'm here. I work too much anyway, so you bet your ass I did everything in my power to make sure I didn't miss this one. I'm the MaskedAura, and for your resident Pacific Northwest fan, oh dear God, I can't wait for football season. Couldn't come soon
He's
enough.
back!
I'm back! I'm back!
And finally, our very special guest, we saved him for the last because we clearly have enough chemistry with the four of us.
That's your
He's not.
cue.
Oh, am I supposed to
That's
introduce
your
myself
cue.
now?
Yes,
I don't know
yes.
how this works. I'm Miller Football, and I really want a hot dog.
Yes.
He's
Well,
officially hit unk
did you know?
status, folks.
Well,
Clearly, I'm cooked.
did you know that are you gonna eat the hot dog that turns you old? You can eat it on the beach that turns you old.
That's a reference to something I don't know.
Well, there's a beach that turns you old, and some people went to the beach and got old.
Was it like that time that they did surgery on a grape?
Oh my
Oh
god.
no,
Oh my
no!
god. No.
And you're
I'm
and you're
still
yelling at me for
bewildered
bringing
by that fact.
and, and you're over
Guys,
here
remember when they
whining
killed
about brain
Harambe?
rot.
Oh
Oh
my
yeah.
god.
Fucking God! Oh my
Dicks
fucking
out!
God!
Dicks out!
Oh my
Yo,
What a
yo,
start to
yo,
this
remember?
podcast. What a start.
Holy shit!
Shout out to Doge.
Wow, such memories, much nostalgia.
Much wow.
Much wow. Oh my god. Oh god, guys, here come that boy.
Oh shit! What
What
Oh,
up?
dude!
Hey,
Oh my goodness gracious! I feel young again listening to all this fucking old memes that we were using in our prime of our youth. Now I'm old and
Pickle
got.
Rick is so funny, guys. Pickle
I
Rick is
get
so
over it.
funny.
He turned
Oh.
himself into a pickle.
It's the funniest thing ever. Morty, I turned myself into a pickle. Now I'm gonna go beat my wife. Wubble up a dub dub.
Oh dear god.
Morty, I just lost my job at voice acting Rick, Morty, because I beat my wife, Morty. Let's go, wubble up a dub dub, Morty.
Brother, I thought we
Let's
were
give
here
a
to
shit
talk
one
about
shots,
football.
Morty.
Oh my god!
this is the Sickos edition of meme review, folks.
Meme review.
God.
Meme review.
Anywho, meme review. Oh god.
Next
Anywho,
meme.
as we got into this the most chaotic we've ever gotten into. As you all know, we start off with the welcome mat, and I don't know how we're going to take this welcome mat seriously after that. But I came up with the idea of where's the best time zone to watch football. But now I think I'm going to change my question.
Oh,
What is the best meme? What was your favorite meme growing up?
Uh, oh my god.
It's
Personally, I was always partial to Rage comics, but you know,
You're so old.
oh my.
Mike alert.
Oh, old.
Oh, you need a
Like that
cane there.
It's like that SpongeBob thing where it's bald, 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 but
Yes,
instead it's
it's
old,
old.
Oh, oh,
This guy was
Old.
Newground's first user.
Oh my
yeah,
good.
yeah. Me and Tom Fulp, we go way back.
Yo,
Oh.
how was meeting Johnny Appleseed?
It was fire, bro. He gave me a fucking apple, and I was like, "Yo, this shit is rotten." And then I threw it at his face until he died.
Yo, hey, how was meeting Paul Bunyan, Luke?
What?
You don't know who Paul Bunyan is?
What?
He's from Canada.
No, he's from Minnesota.
Oh, he lives in Canada.
I mean, I believe the word you should be looking for is like Howie Mandel. That's it. Howie Mandel would have been a good one.
Anywho, back to the topic at hand. Personally, for me, my favorite meme growing up was I think it had to be the why? I think it had to be the Arby's burger. If some of you guys don't know this,
The
but
burger
Nick
you
and
can-
Spencer know.
Yeah, I know it.
I will have to give that video to
David?
Luke and David later, but it is one of my favorite videos. But I guess besides that, probably the I got hit today while riding my bike. And I'll send that to the.
You know, this
Yeah.
actually is fitting because from everywhere I've heard, it seems like people agree that the NFC North has the best memes.
True.
Yeah, I'd second that.
Yeah, I suppose, but they have the worst time to watch football. I mean, they have the best time to watch football, because watching football at 10 a.m. is perfect. But at the same time, I will sit here and say this as well. It ends at not a great time. I think starting at 10 is great. I think ending at like 8, kinda
Listen, if we're talking about my time zone, here's the thing. Look, we're talking about this. Having to go to school, but knowing I could watch football till like 8 o'clock and still get some sleep, there's something satisfying about that. I'm just saying.
I mean, it really depends what kind of job I find you work. Kind of really determines kind of how you kind of really watch football, what's like the best time. Because like if you're working a night job, if you're on the East Coast, right, games don't start till 1 p.m. Like, right, you get to keep your schedules the same. You even probably get to like sleep in a little bit more, right? But if you have like a morning job, watching football on the East Coast just sucks. Because you're telling me I have to stay up till midnight when you work at 6 a.m. in the morning next day? I really feel like it's your occupation really determines what the best time zone would be. I think if you're closing, best time zone, East Coast. But if you're in the morning, I think West Coast.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
why there's that SpongeBob meme of whenever a primetime game goes into overtime where it's like West Coast viewers are happy and East Coast viewers are just freaking sleep deprived.
Mr. Krabs, I want to go to bed.
Perfect.
I was not
But, like,
expecting
okay,
that. That was good.
I just want to say this. I want to put Central Time Zone on the map because it is the perfect time. You start at noon, which is objectively the best time to watch football. Like, granted, 10 is very sweet, but noon is the most, like, like just best. Like it makes the most sense. It's high noon. That's when all the games starts. You know, you have games at 12, you have games at 3, and then you have the 7 o'clock game. By the time you're done, it's 10 o'clock, and you're probably already going to go home and go to sleep regardless. If you're watching it and you're done at like 8 o'clock, you're like, oh wow, I'm not really tired yet. What do I really do for these next 2 to 3 hours?
Play video
Simply,
games,
you don't
watch
know.
hockey.
You can just do that while watching football as is. And also, too, like, legitimately, you're going to want to do something because there is nothing to do at that time. And, like, you're not going to be able to. So, I think Central is the best, but I think by far the worst is Mountain Time. It does not make sense at all in terms of time zones, because who wants to watch football at 11?
I
Mountain
mean,
time is just weird.
Mountain time's really
Yeah.
weird, but like with like say, because I work at 10:30 every day, I wouldn't hate football starting at 11 if I like say were to work at like 10:30. I get to sleep in an extra hour. Like even then, like say like church, there are people that would go to like even no matter like if you're a church goer. East Coast and I think Central time, I think you're eating every single time because you get you the 10 service, you have lunch, and boom, football. You don't get to miss any action.
That's what I was gonna say.
Right.
I'm part of the Eastern Standard Time, and my folks are religious, and they really like the 1 o'clock time because my mom is in worship team, so she does both services. And thankfully, she's able to get out just in time for the 1 o'clock games, and that's usually when the Lions are playing because she's a Lions fan. And maybe if they're feeling up to it, they go to the local Mexican place for some margaritas while they watch.
So I think like the perfect for me as a person right now, 10 o'clock totally fine with, right? 10 because like I see it as like because I can get up at 9:30, have some breakfast, boom, I sit down, I've got my screens going, football's ready to rock and roll, I'm ready to rock and roll, let's get the party started. That's totally fun. Then games end at like 8:30. Guess what? I'm gonna be hanging out with my friends, playing some video games. By midnight, I'm in bed. I find that it works well for me for now. If like say I was on the Mountain Time, I would probably prefer the extra hour just to sleep in. But knowing my straight up luck, I haven't slept in like years. I have lost the ability to sleep past 9 o'clock. I just can't sleep in anymore.
I will say the one thing about Eastern Time Zone, although this is largely a personal problem, is that it makes watching Monday Night Football games an absolute bitch because personally I stay up late on Sundays, but I sleep like 13 hours at a time on like Mondays.
Yeah, no, that's understandable. Like to me, I feel East Coast like if you have morning jobs, it is the worst. Just purely because you got work in the morning, and like and also too like this week, right? We're about to see a football game, right? College football starts next week. Tell someone who is from like say you're a diehard fan of was it Delaware State, right?
Yeah, Delaware State University. Yeah, they get to watch their game at midnight.
And usually college football games they can go to 3.5 hours. Tell somebody, hey, you're gonna be up till 3:30 a.m. in the morning. Watching your team, that is
like
worst.
The fucking sports bars aren't open.
Exactly. Like it is straight. Like again, I do think in a way it's you got your time zone, your occupation, and always in my mind I said the funniest thing that you, in my opinion, that you could have is you have a diehard fan of Hawaii, the Hawaii Fighting Rainbows, like a diehard fan that regularly goes to church, right? And they are on the East Coast. To me, that is the funniest thing on the planet.
Well, the thing is, too, I do want to bring this up to London games. Here in Central Time Zone, you know when London games start at? They start at 8 o'clock. That is just barely good enough to where you can wake up in the morning at like 7 o'clock, start to get some stuff in your system, eat a couple donuts to wake yourself up, and you get to watch football basically from 8 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night, and that's perfect. But if you're on like the West Coast, you have to wake up at 6 o'clock to watch these games. And I don't know anyone on the West Coast, especially when there's so much to do there, that's going to want to wake up at 6 o'clock.
I'm not doing
that. No. Nope.
Except you will for the Bears game, because I'm going to wake you up.
I mean, the one thing that I think they did right with one of the London games was when Seattle was playing the Raiders, they moved that game to 10 a.m. because they're both teams on the West Coast. I personally, I love that change. I love it. Like it's like the best of both worlds. I still get to watch the Seahawks. I get to watch everybody else play, but it starts at 10, right? But like when Seattle played Tampa Bay, it was at 6:30 in the morning. And for West Coast, unless you have a morning job,
that was the Munich game.
The game in Munich, Germany.
Actually, yeah, you mentioned that. You actually mentioned how like the Raiders Seahawks they moved it. Because I remember the Bears and Raiders, they had a game in London. I remember that being at 10 o'clock my time, which is, I remember them moving it to that time, and I was like, you know what, that's probably something the NFL does, where if there's a West Coast team, they they move it. They move the time to something.
The UFC actually just had a pay-per-view event in London, and it didn't conclude until 6 o'clock their time to conform with their usual schedule.
Yeah, I saw that.
We got a chat. It says, if Justin Jefferson or Drainsaw go down, we are stress testing ceiling fans.
Yeah. Actually, I'm also testing the porousness of grocery bags, and also the LD50 of Advil.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Spencer, we're not supposed to advertise drugs to children. How could you say that?
Because if JJ or Darasaw go down, I'm gonna kill myself.
Oh
Jeez.
no.
I mean that's gonna be Bears fans with Caleb Williams. But speaking of NFC North football,
Yeah, I think it's time we get into this.
Yeah, let's get. I think we're all
the
warmed
NFC
up.
North. What a very interesting division where. About a week ago, I would say that every team kind of sort of has a chance to make the playoffs. Now it's only 3 of the teams have every sort of chance to make the playoffs.
I still
So let's
say
talk about, that one team later on, because I don't feel like that's fair to Spencer to start out with them. So let's get the hate session started with the Detroit Lions. Holy God, this team's overrated. They might at most win 10 games.
Classic hot take. Classic hot take.
I'm sorry.
No,
I don't have it in my bones.
here's the thing. I feel like the Lions, in general, they have dealt with just so much nonsense. The fact that, I mean, a lot of people, especially with this current front office, have been really criticizing them because for the right reasons. And then ended up all the moves that the front office, all the draft picks that they've made were actually incredibly smart. I really questioned when Dan Campbell said it's only going to be harder, I don't think we're going to make it again this year. But like I kind of get it, right?
He's trying to create hunger with his team.
Mm-hmm. Like one thing is
For
that everybody in the NFL knows just how damn good the Detroit Lions are. They had, without a doubt, one of their best seasons, I think, I want to say, ever.
Yeah, best ever.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolute best season.
At least best since the merger.
Mm-hmm. Like the fact that Jared Goff nailed it.
He had a renaissance.
He's been having a renaissance since last year, but the fact that they've got all the pieces all together, they got the franchise quarterback, they got the franchise wide receiver, they got a bunch of young talented running backs, they got the franchise defensive lineman Aiden Hutchinson, who has been absolutely amazing.
He's been setting the world on fire.
Exactly. Like, you have...
And they're still so young.
Mm-hmm. They are incredibly young. Dan Campbell, I mean, I thought he was a bit of a fraud. Because, we saw him, the players do play hard for him. We clearly saw that in his first year, even though they had a horrible record. We saw how hard their players were playing for him, right? He would tell the players to jump off a cliff. The entire team's already done it.
And I know exactly what cliff.
Like, we're talking, like, my big word was year 2 was, we saw the ceiling of this team. We saw all of this, but, like, my one really critical point was, hey, how is he going to be adjusting as a strategist, week in and week out? How are you going to game plan? How are you going to adjust to your opponent? Because it seems like the opponent started to figure out his system and they adjusted well to it. But then year 3, they had one of the best seasons they've had in a while. They were literally set the entire football world ablaze. All right, it was such a great sight to see from this team how willing the players were. How, I don't think there's a player on that roster that will say a bad thing about Dan Campbell. He's totally got the sold the locker room. He sold the fans, right? And this is probably one of the stretches that, it's going to season well with the Super Bowl, but this is going to be one of the great stretches in Detroit sports history. They're going to be reminiscing about this, like when they're reminiscing about the Detroit Red Wings.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Dan Campbell way in Detroit, within the next 5 or 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say this point real quick. Everyone's saying, oh, Jared Goff's been having a career renaissance. Okay, that can be true, but I want to bring this up. Look at Jared Goff after he's gotten contract extensions. He's been bad. He's been not good at all. And if it happens once, it's whatever. But this is twice. He's had 2 extensions, and he's looked bad after every single one of them. So, I'm going to say it. Okay, once he got extended with the Rams,
In
and then when he
2019?
got... I thought that was 2018.
No, it was 2019.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
2018 he went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, 2019 offseason, that was when he got that extension.
And then I'd argue at the beginning of his career, too.
Well, that was because Jeff Fisher was...
Yeah, and I'm not going to
bad.
blame him for 2019 because for some reason that defense fell off a map.
Mm-hmm. Like, the thing about Jared Goff is, right, he's not, going to set worlds on fire. I don't expect him to be, top 5. I think, I look at him right now. I think he's the 12th, 11th best quarterback in the league. My expectations for him, I would like to say, they're kind of set. Our expectations have been pretty grounded. We know what we're gonna get, but Taegan, you do have a point. There is evidence where, gets paid, and we're gonna see it right away too. He gets paid, completely falls off a map. We're gonna see it, and could it derail the Detroit Lions? 100%. Absolutely 100%. And the worst part is the contract doesn't start till next season. So if it does happen, and if Taegan is right here, that could be one of the, first early signs that the window is rapidly closing. Now, could it?
If he's wrong, LMAO, classic Taegan.
Classic hot take.
I hate to do this, but Taegan's right. Goff, okay, listen, I understand the appeal of Goff, right? I get why people like him. Detroit's successful with him, right? They're winning games with him at quarterback. But they aren't winning games because he's their quarterback. He's not doing anything like was already brought up. He's not setting the world on fire. But not only is he not setting the world on fire, he's not doing anything to elevate the guys around him.
Yeah,
The Detroit Lions. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
I'm in full Jared Goff hate mode right now. Like a
No, that
steam
was something
train.
It was something I noticed when I was attending the NFL draft in Detroit. A lot of the locals I talked to, they were okay with. They liked Jared Goff enough. They were doing the Jared Goff chants during the McAfee show and everything. But when I talked to them, like on the street or like in a Greyhound or whatever, they were like, yeah, Jared Goff, he's okay, but he's not the heart and soul of the franchise. Not like my boy Hutch or that Sam Laporta kid.
Right.
Also, why did you hate to agree with me? That's crazy.
Taegan, have you seen some of the takes you've had?
Listen, okay. Considering this, your anti-Goff take that I agree with was labeled as classic Taegan, and I know you. I hate to agree with you in that context, but
Oh God.
Goff is fine, but he's somebody that under pressure specifically. This is the big thing with me with Goff. That man cannot handle pressure. Whether it is like Taegan brought up, he just got a contract, so expectations are on him. Or it's just in a literal sense in the game when the pocket starts to collapse, when the play breaks down. He has no idea what he's doing. You look at the Bears game last year, I believe it was the second one, where Sam Laporta is wide open and he threw the ball 10 yards in front of him directly to Jalen Johnson because somebody got a little bit of pressure on him.
Yeah, that was the Thanksgiving game.
It was the Thanksgiving game, yeah. That is the quarterback Jared Goff is. When everything's clean, when he's able to operate within structure, he can do enough. He can do enough to be like, hey, Amon-Ra, here's a slant, take it for an extra 20 yards. Hey, Laporta, here's a curl route, do your thing. Hey, Gibbs, here's a wheel out of the backfield, do your thing. If we want to put this in other sport terms, he's like a backup point guard on an NBA team, where they do enough to run the court, but he's never going to make the highlight play. He's never going to elevate the guys around him. He's never going to be the one to do what the team needs in crunch time. He's not a quarterback that has a clutch bone in his body. He's not somebody that I trust under pressure. He's not somebody that I think is moving the needle at all for Detroit. So all this talk of him being a 11th, 12th best quarterback in the league or anything like that, I don't see where that's coming from at all, unless we're looking purely statistically or basing it off of quarterback wins, which, I mean, no offense, but I think are two very lazy ways to analyze quarterback play, because there's so much that goes into that outside.
I'm going to be honest. I think quarterback wins are a stat to look at.
I think that's crazy.
Because I feel like a lot of it, because I just see it from, no offense to Bears fans, they haven't really had a franchise quarterback. But I look at when, let's fast forward to let's go in the past to last year, right? where last year you guys all said Justin Fields was your guy. I wasn't so sure because he couldn't win you games, and there's opportunities where the opportunity presented himself to win games. I think pitch in a pitching stat, wins means absolutely nothing, right? But I think in
Yeah.
football, it means everything. Can you win? Can you win it on
Here's my thing.
Sundays?
Look, here's my thing, because I get the point what Luke's trying to say, but my only issue is there are some quarterbacks that I feel like definitely defy that trend where it's like, look, they don't have a good record, but you can tell it's not their fault. Like a perfect example of this is Justin Herbert. Like you cannot tell me that record he has is his fault. It is not his fault he has that record. I think that's a perfect example of that. Now, in terms of like wins and all that, because I don't see quarterback wins as like a true stat. I think there's just I just feel like I don't see it as a good enough stat for me to really consider it. But I do consider clutchness. I definitely think how you do in the clutch definitely goes beyond for me just stats and all of that. Like if it adds more to how if you're a good quarterback but you're very clutch, I could honestly call you a great quarterback if I want to, if you're that clutch. But if you do well but you have problems in the clutch, then it definitely makes me a lot more shaky about how I feel about you as a quarterback. And my thing with Jared Goff is I think he's a good quarterback, but I also don't think he's the motor of this team. I don't think he's like like the big, yeah. I didn't even mean for that to come out like that. Like I literally just thought, yeah, just, oh my god. But yeah, like Goff is like he's fine. He does his role well, but there's other guys who I feel like make more of an impact. Like on defense, like Aiden Hutchinson, such an impact he makes. Someone like an Amon-Ra St. Brown, or on the running back side of things, like Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. They make
Iowa
they
State
make their
legend.
impacts. Yeah, they
Like-
make their impacts known.
The thing is with the Lions, though, and something that I've kind of stuck with is like, do I think they have a good roster? Yeah, but like, I think you're really relying on quarterback with this team because most of the time last year, was it the running game really bailing them out of situations? Most of the time, it was the passing game. Like,
I mean, I
could
agree.
remember-
I get that, but I feel like there's definitely going to be a lot to rely on with the running game too, because you have Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. You have one of the
Well, that's
best
if
running back
right.
Gibbs
duos.
is healthy.
Yeah, and
Yeah, true.
I
That
really
too.
feel like you were really discrediting the work that the run game did do last year. Like, in my opinion, they're the reasons that the Lions absolutely mollywopped the Denver Broncos that one game.
Yeah, no,
Right,
it's-
but like, think about it this year. Look how many good defenses they're going to be playing against. The Colts, the Packers twice, the Bears twice, the Bills, the Titans, the Cowboys. Like, they're going up against a lot of like premium top tier defenses this year. And if we go to last year, they were playing teams like the Buccaneers with bad defense, the Broncos, bad defense, the Saints, their defense is washed, the Chargers, their defense is bad, the Raiders' defense is bad. And when they played a team with an actual defense, i.e. the Ravens, they got mollywopped.
Well, to be fair, I think
Respectfully, you're sleeping on the Buccaneers D.
Yeah, Taegan,
Yeah,
this
and
is why
Raiders.
I said I hate to agree with you. Listening to you list off what you think is a good defense and what you think is a bad defense. Thank
Yeah.
you for
Bucks
proving
have
my
a
point from
horrid
earlier.
defense.
I
I don't think the Bucks have a horrid. I don't think the Bucks have like a horrid defense, but like the main thing about them is like their defense is kind of one trick.
If you're gassing
they
up
have good-
if you're gassing up the current Dallas Cowboys defense, but you won't give the Buccaneers of last year credit, there is a problem.
Yeah, you don't know ball, bro.
I
Sorry.
think
Maybe I just glossed over the wrong team.
I think also another thing
You
that
had a solid point. You just didn't do yourself any favor with your
Oh
example.
no, I think I just named the wrong team.
yeah, that's fair.
I
That's
think I
fair.
meant to name I think I said the Raiders, and then I thought I said the Raiders again, and then said the Buccaneers. 'Cause
Yeah,
it
like-
says here.
I
like-
do want to quickly note something. You know, I like to be boring. You know, I'm a gamer. I play video games. I love playing video games. One of the things I like to know is I call it the NFL balance patch. And according to my patch notes, defenses receive a nerf because they banned the hip drop tackle. I think, again, like we see defensive coordinators, they've slowly figured out how to counter most offenses, right? Because most coordinators in the offseason, what they're going to do, they're going to watch gameplay. They're going to have to come up with a way to counter, you know, the best players in football. That's what their job is, right? They're the sleepless nights. Now with the hip drop tackle being banned, I think, you know, if you have a high flying offenses are about to completely flourish with this. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be a very different football season. I think scoring is going to go way up because that's what the NFL owners want. They want scoring to go through the roof, and I think that's what's going to happen. So I see, you know,
I think you're putting too much stock into the hip drop tackle because they said during the entire thing that 9 times out of 10 they're not going to call it in the game. They're just going to end up fining the player after the game is over.
Well, I mean,
the hip drop tackle isn't nearly as common as people like made it out to be. Like, yeah, it's an unfortunate ban because it's a simple thing to do, but there are so many other ways to wrap up a ball carrier that good defenses will just adjust. Like, there might be a little bit of a spike, but
I think this year will be a spike, but then defensive coordinators are going to figure it out next season. I think scoring's going to be up.
Yeah,
this
okay,
year.
we might have a year. I see what you mean.
Yeah, I'm not saying like it's permanently. I think
I get you now. Okay,
yeah.
That I can understand.
Yeah. Because like it's to my point where they're gonna try to figure out how they want the NFL to be this year.
Fair.
It
I
happens.
missed half your explanation because my Discord had a spasm.
Oh,
so
no problem.
That's my
Yeah.
fault.
All good. Because it's something that we're gonna have to wait and see. I could be completely wrong, and it's like, look at this fucking dumbass. He thought there was gonna be actual offense, even with the so-called hip drop tackle. I mean, could it mean something more in the future? I mean, it's honestly a wait and see. I mean, I think we're gonna look more into it. I think week 3 of the preseason, we're gonna see just how much time starters are going to get playing. We're going to see, does it really have that much of an impact, or are we, smoking crack right now? So it's a wait and see kind of thing. We're not going to really know until we see Chiefs versus the Ravens on the season opener.
By the way, I find it fitting that you all mentioned defense, because I remember saying this last year about the Lions in terms of what I think in terms of if Detroit's was going to make the playoffs last year, what was going to be key to them. Because I had plenty of faith in the offense heading into last season, but my question was, can the defense get better? Like, can the defense at least be sustainable? Because if it could, then the Lions should make the playoffs, and they did. They made the playoffs. They won a playoff game. They did all that.
They won 2 playoff games.
Indeed, they did. They won 2 playoff games. So now, my question for this season is, okay, can the Lions' defense keep improving? Because I feel like if the Lions want to go far, they're going to need their defense to be good. They're going to need their defense to be really good if they really want to make a Super Bowl run. And I feel like they have the offense capable of going far. But my question is, can this defense like, obviously you have Aiden Hutchinson, you have talented players on this defense, but can they put it all together to really elevate this Lions defense?
Yeah, I've said this before about this Lions team, but they definitely remind me a lot of the Greatest Show on Turf era Rams. Just missing that crucial part of the defense.
Yeah, and I know they drafted a cornerback in the first and second round, so Terrion Arnold and um,
I want to say
Ennis,
Ennis Rakestraw.
Ennis Rakestraw,
yes,
yeah.
yes,
I liked it when they
and
sniped Tom Grossi. That was a funny reaction.
yeah, that was really
That's
funny.
Colonel Tom Grossi to you now.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
Colonel Tom Grossi.
Also, he has to wear a Seahawks shirt when the Seahawks are playing the Packers this year. He lost the competition to the mascot, which I was completely blown away that they were to do something. That so he's got to wear a Seahawks uniform when they when those two teams play each other, and I think that's absolutely hilarious.
Nick, to your point about the Lions' defense, it's ironic because I'm more sold on that unit right now than I am the offense. Not because of any of the skill position players, but again because of Goff. Like I am exponentially lower on Goff than the rest of you seem to be. But from
Yeah, I
top
can
to
understand
bottom,
that.
yeah, from top to bottom defensively, I mean, you guys have brought up Aiden Hutchinson, and then DJ Reader was a huge pickup. Not enough people are giving that credit. You know, a true run-stuffing nose tackle that can not only dominate against the run and erase interior linemen, but also can push the pocket well. Great linebacker core. Jack Campbell struggled last year, but should be trending upward. Malcolm Rodriguez has his moments. Alex Anzalone's really solid. Derek Barnes is solid. Secondary, Brian Branch looked incredible. Kirby Joseph, despite him being a dirty bastard, is pretty good at football. And then I love Rakestraw and Arnold. I wasn't as high on, but is still very, very good. And you pair them with Carlton Davis, who they traded for, bringing in, or I can't remember if it's bringing in or bringing back Amik Robinson and Emmanuel Mosley. I want to say they were there last year. Like this is going to be a very aggressive defense that runs a lot of press man. They have the personnel to do it in terms of the secondary. The defensive line's just going to have to get home, and I think Hutchinson, Reader, Aleem McNeil, who I forgot to mention, and even a guy, you know, like Josh Pascal or Marcus Davenport or James Houston, they've got a lot of pieces.
God, Marcus Davenport, who's
I know.
already on the pup list.
Is he actually?
Yes.
Wild.
To chime in real quick, the Cincinnati Bengals just tweeted out, guys will be like, sorry, I have a lot on my plate right now, and it's literally just a late night hot dog with no chili. So, this is a continuation. The Cincinnati Bengals are old. Put that on the counter.
Taegan, oh my god.
Fucking
God.
Christ. Anyway, to your point, David, I don't think it's necessarily that I think Jared Goff is an elite quarterback. I just think he's good enough to get it done. You know,
Yeah.
sort of like you know, to bring up an old guy, Dieter Brock for the Rams. You know,
God. You, my friend, are ancient.
yeah, he got the job
Watch
done.
Johnny Unitas play football, by the way.
He was at Super Bowl 3.
Yeah. I'm still angry at that bastard Len Dawson.
Jesus.
Insane.
But I understand, like, thinking Goff can get it done. I fully understand that, and I don't disagree. I said earlier, more comes with Goff in the big moment. Right? Like, we saw him not have the greatest game in the Super Bowl for the Rams. In the NFC Championship game, didn't look too great against the 49ers. Like, when he's faced with pressure, and when all eyes are on him, when he's, you know, when they say, Jared, listen, we got 2 minutes, we got to get down there and score or we're going to lose the game. There are at least 15 quarterbacks I'd rather have. At least. I do not trust him in those big moments. Now, he can help get you there. I don't have any doubt that Jared Goff can help the Lions win 12 games in the regular season because the rest of their roster is so great, and it's enough for Jared Goff to just play point guard. But in those big moments where you need your quarterback, where Brady made a name for himself, where Manning made a name for himself, where Mahomes has made a name for himself, I don't trust Goff in the slightest. And when the NFC is starting to actually build itself up, and you have to worry about quarterbacks like Matt Stafford, like a Jalen Hurts, like even a Brock Purdy, I just don't trust Goff in those big moments, and that's where my worry about the Lions comes from, and where my worry about him comes from. Especially considering the money they just paid him. Like, I get it, it's the quarterback market. You have to pay your quarterback. But I just wish the Lions would have done literally anything to put themselves in a position to not have to do that.
Not to mention, too, Jared Goff isn't even like a top 10 quarterback in the NFL right now.
He's not.
I don't think.
Granted, there's a lot of really good quarterbacks in the AFC right now, but
I don't
like,
think he's the top
is he?
5 quarterback in the NFC.
No.
I think
I think
I
he's
think
5
the
or
way that you're
6.
thinking- I think the way that you're thinking is like, okay, Jordan Love's only shown one good season, and like, you know, Dak and Hurts have been doing this for longer. So I kind of get where you're coming from, but at the same time, though, it's like, I'm pretty sure Jared Goff is probably the like 4th or 5th best QB in this division. Like Stafford, Cousins, Kyler.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I have to choose between Hurts or Dak. Even though I don't really think either of those two are that amazing.
I'll put it this
But,
way.
like-
I'm taking the 3 you just mentioned. I'm taking Dak. I'm taking Stafford. I'd probably rather have Jordan Love. Definitely taking Purdy. Like, I think Goff is... I would definitely rather have Geno as well. Almost forgot about Geno.
I'd rather have Goff over
Gino's-
Geno. This is the Seahawks fan.
Yeah.
I'd rather
Listen,
have Goff
listen.
over Geno.
I can assure you... Listen, I respect it, but me personally, from what I've seen out of the two of them, watching the film, seeing what they have been able to do on tape, in big moments, and, you know, in... important drives, I think Geno is much more capable of stepping up to the occasion than Goff. Like, game on the line, NFC Championship game to go play Patrick Mahomes in 2 weeks, I would take Geno over Goff 10 times out of 10. And honestly, if I didn't want to sound biased, I would probably say Caleb as well, but I'll pump the brakes on that because he hasn't played yet.
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm waiting until he plays. I'm just waiting until he plays to make a take like that.
I mean, I'm just gonna say this
But-
first game. After this first game, I'm probably gonna say Caleb Williams is the top 5 quarterback in the NFC.
Honestly.
Because there's just not much competition.
There would be
It's not like a
competition, but
competition.
we'll
I
get
don't
to
think-
that.
There is.
David, you forgot elite quarterback Sam Bradford, who's going to clearly take the Vikings on a.
Oh,
Is Sam
no.
gonna take
Bradford
the
still in the
Vikings-
league?
No, he's
Oh,
retired.
man.
He's
Sam
retired. He's
Bradford.
retired.
Okay,
Sam
that's what I
Darnold.
thought.
Sam Darnold.
We signed a
Sam
different.
Darnold.
We signed a
Taegan
different.
moment.
We signed a different Sam today. Actually, we
By the way, I
signed-
thought you were gonna say Drew Lock
wait.
Taegan. I honestly thought you were gonna say him.
Honestly, Drew Lock,
You ready for this,
I think
David?
Drew Lock is-
Did you ready for this? Okay, so Taegan has said that the Giants are better starting Drew Lock over Daniel Jones.
he's right.
I mean, that's
He
not
says
the bad
thank
take.
you.
He said
Thank
he said Drew Lock. If he is starting quarterback, he will lead the Giants to 10 wins.
That I don't agree with. I think he'd be better
Yeah,
than
but-
Daniel Jones, but that bar is underneath the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was going to say Sam Bradford, not Sam Bradford. Why am I thinking Sam Bradford?
Darnold.
Here's the thing: the Vikings are going to go on a 2017 run with Sam Darnold, but this time it's not going to be a funny Houston quarterback. It's going to be a funny USC quarterback.
But yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
I was gonna say I thought we were talking about Detroit, bro.
Yeah,
I was
we're
trying
talking
to-
about
I
the
know.
lines real
Shit.
quick.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I just
Yeah.
I felt like I needed to mention Case Keenum real quick because
We'll get
He's
to
still
that.
playing.
Okay.
We will get to that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Patience, young Padawan. Patience.
Anywho, I do want to sit here and say this. If there's anything that the Lions can surely rely on this year, it's Ryan Bates. And
Jake Bates.
Ryan Bates. Jake Bates? Oh.
The
Jake
kicker.
Bates.
They're this- Yeah, from the Michigan
Yeah,
Panthers.
Jake Bates.
I
Yeah,
really
that's
thought
Jake
you were
Bates.
about to make a Ryan Bates is gonna let Aiden Hutchinson through like a revolving door
God,
and he's going to smack you through
I'm
the
just
computer.
mixing up names right now.
bro.
just
Bro is
regardless.
He's struggling.
Look,
It's okay.
anxiety is not a good combination with talking. But regardless, back on topic, they have a pretty good kicker, and I get that's really weird to say, but like Jake Bates might be a better kicker than Justin Tucker already.
He's the UFL dude, yeah?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, he's the
Yeah.
guy that made
I mean,
that made a
68
62
yarder.
no yard.
Oh,
68 yarder.
do you want to relive
and
that
proves me
conversation,
wrong.
Taegan?
Oh yeah, here's how it goes. Yeah, dude, the Michigan Panthers are losing this. There's no way this man kicks a 60-plus yard field
I
goal
don't know. I mean,
when he
never
hasn't
say
kicked since,
never.
like 4 years ago.
Since high school, he never made it a field goal
Since
attempt
high
in
school.
college. Kept
Since
saying, I don't
high
know.
school.
He drills it once. Oh, they called a timeout. Thinking, ain't no way he does this again. Ain't no way he nails that. That was amazing. But I was about to get into Jake Bates here. I think one of the keys to the Lions this year is Jake Bates really him? I like Jake Bates a lot in the UFL. He really did a very good kicking in Detroit outside. I think he did all right. He had a 61-yard field goal in perfect sunny conditions. My thing, though, is how he's going to kick on the road in the rain and other elements.
Or in the snow.
Right? Because...
Remember, he has to go to Lambeau at least once.
And Chicago. And Chicago.
Yep.
So that is going to really say a lot about his ability as a football player, right? Now, don't get me wrong, right? Young Wei Koo was an amazing kicker in the AFL, still is doing a very good job for the Atlanta Falcons. So I think it's common for kickers to really find themselves in these tier 2 football leagues to turn that into a big to get big money and make it into the NFL, especially with the way these leagues are designed. They're more designed to try and encourage as much scoring as possible by allowing big returns with the kickoff, so that way you don't have to drive down the field that long to get points. And if your kicker can consistently make 60-yard field goals, why not?
Also, too, keep in mind he is the only kicker that is going to be used to the new kickoff rules. You have to keep that in mind as well.
I know Jake Bates.
That's true.
Jake Bates did not play XFL kickoff rules. No, they played UFL kickoff. They played the USFL kickoff rules in the UFL. They
Yeah,
did not play XFL kickoff rules.
Here's a reason I don't think Jake Bates will be as good as he was. Dan Campbell really doesn't like to kick it. He's, like, as much as we kind of foo-foo Jared Goff and what he did and didn't accomplish last year, I feel like a lot of the failures were a lot more on Dan Campbell being overly aggressive with his play calling.
That's true. Yeah. But could it be, hey, you have a guy that can nail a 60-plus yard field goal indoors?
I also remember the Lions had kicking. If I remember correctly, I remember the Lions didn't exactly have like the greatest special teams last season. If I remember.
Oh God, they
They
had
were
Fat
kicking.
Randy.
And Fat Randy at one point, the Money Badger was there for a little bit.
The Money Badger, Bear legend.
My goodness. But because if you think of it, right, if you're as aggressive as Dan Campbell, what's going on in the back of my head right now is I have a guy that has consistently nailed 55-plus yard field goal inside the dome.
We could pull
In the dome, think of it, in the NFC, right? You do have two very hard games on the road, right? You got Lambeau in Green Bay. You have Soldier Field in Chicago. You've got Lumen Field is very close to the waterfront, right? I've heard many stories of many home run balls, even with the Mariners being short just because of the marine layer. That in Seattle, think of it, it's January. It's going to be cold, wet conditions, right? That you're going to have to kick in. But like outside of that, in the NFC, that's it, right? Most of the South, there's the Giants. My bad. There's there's MetLife, right? MetLife.
Yeah.
MetLife. That's
Yeah.
gonna be difficult to kick in the winter, but like. Oh, Philly. Yep, Philly. Commanders, if you're in the winter. But, like, say you have, like, play against the South. That's all indoors. Dallas is indoors. Hi, honey.
Haha, you have life.
I do. You're looking at, outside Minnesota's indoors. You're going to guarantee yourselves that most of the time, you're going to be playing in a dome. West, LA's in a dome. San Francisco, wintertime in San Francisco is really not that bad.
Yeah, I mean, it depends, but looking at the Lions' schedule for this season, like, in terms of the ones that could definitely be challenges for Bates, like, Lambeau will always be a challenge, especially November, and let's not forget, we mentioned Soldier Field. That's happening in December.
Ooh.
Whoa. Yeah, especially since they're right next to Lake Michigan.
Yeah, December 22nd, so yeah, that's going to be a tall order.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not an impossible task.
Yeah, not impossible, but...
Not by any of the imagination, but it's, and like, you just look even just at the UFL, most of the time they're playing in the spring, and a lot, half the time you're in a dome, but like you think at the other half, you're kicking in, like, you're playing in the South. Your most north would be DC, would be the toughest environment, and they didn't really have any terrible weather in DC. So it's
the only terrible weather I remember for like the spring games was probably, I don't know, maybe that one that one Vegas Vipers game at Cashman when it rained for a bit.
Oh, dude,
I missed the Mr. Beast team.
Cashman, kicking in Cashman in the XFL, like Cashman just in general, just because of how it's set up with the wind and everything, that would be such a difficult environment to kick in alone. You go watch, you can go back in time, go to NFL-video, you can brush yourself up on, just just the environment in Cashman Field was like, and it was very tough for kickers. I found that it was really tough because the wind is constantly swirling, really hard to pass the ball around.
That's why we got the Whopper Bowl when we did.
Oh, nothing's gonna top the Whopper Bowl. The Whopper Bowl was absolutely amazing, but it's I think the key to Detroit, because it's gonna come down again. If they're gonna be in lots of close games, it's gonna come down to Jake Bates, and there's environments that I think you're gonna be you're gonna go out there and you're like, you know what, screw it. We got 4 minutes before half. Let's kick it. Let's do it. Let's kick the field goal. But other times you're going to be like, say even you trust Jake Bates to nail a 54-yard field goal in terrible weather. That's something that until you see it, I feel kicking is going to be very mixed for the Lions, but I'm really excited to see Jake Bates play at the NFL level. He's got an amazing leg. He's already nailed a 54-yard, is it 54? Or 53?
In preseason?
Preseason. Was it 54 or 53 that he's hit?
It doesn't matter.
It was in outdoor conditions. It shows the consistency.
I'm looking. He's definitely hit some 50s. I saw in practice he had a 64-yarder, so he's definitely hit those.
Yeah.
Those
are again in perfect condition. So we're gonna. It's an honest wait and see kind of thing with Jake Bates. I am really excited to see how he does. I am super excited.
I'm very interested to see how this Lions team does for sure. Very interested.
another probably team that's going to be on my most watched teams this year outside of my own. I think the Lions are going to be very exciting to watch. There's some good.
Can't wait to see the kneecaps fly.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, is it
Well-
time for floor and ceilings?
I'm going to
Yes,
give
it
the
is.
Florida Detroit 13. Sorry, ceiling 13, floor 8.
For me, I'm going to go with their ceiling 12, their floor 7.
Okay. For me, their ceiling is 15, and their floor, I put it at about 9.
My floor for the Lions is 8, and my ceiling, I'll go 14.
I'm gonna say floor probably about an 8. Ceiling, I'll give him a 12.
Right?
Well,
I
I think next up, I think is me leaving my tales of woe about this fucking team in purple.
All right, everyone, get your clips
The
out.
Baltimore Ravens?
We're going to have Untitled Vikings Project ready.
I mean, I mean, once I have a really funny video idea of what we could do for Spencer. I think it's
Yeah, I know. I've seen it. Anyway. God, the Vikings make me miserable. Just fucking... Can I just have one season? One season where we don't pull off some garbage where, like, oh, what's that? We have a quarterback we drafted in the first round? That's cool. Oh no, he got injured, and he's the first quarterback that got drafted in the first round who's out on IR since the modern draft era. Great! And oh boy, now our cornerback, who was said to be the savior of weak cornerback room, surprise, reckless driving got him. He's dead. Rest in peace. Fucking. Your wide receiver too, set to have a breakout year. DUI charge, and also he tweaked his ankle. Oops. Fucking God. Every year, this team finds different ways to just send me spiraling into such a fucking negative mood. And watch it be this goddamn year of all years to where they actually somehow managed to pull a Lombardi out of their ass.
Again, Spencer, like I've told you, this year for the Vikings was just development anyway. I get that's really tough. That's really rough to hear still, but like, regardless, the Vikings this year were in what the Bears were last year. See what your guy can do with the situation he's given. Granted, that can't really happen right now, so they're in a kind of weird place where their team isn't bad enough to tank. They're not, but like they're kind of 50-50 on like whether they can make the playoffs or not. But that's solely just because the NFC is a complete dumpster fire. And like I could totally see like the 7th team being like an 8-9 squad or like a 7-10 squad.
Making like
And
a
that's just-
darn sanity run.
Don't
I
call
mean-
it darn sanity. Don't you do that.
Darn Quake. I'm ready for the darn Quake, man. I can't wait for
Oh my
darn
God.
Quake.
Oh my God! Look, it really says something about the Vikings that literally a week into the preseason, I was using the King of the Hill. Is it okay that I feel like I don't want to live anymore meme? I was having to use that image to describe the Vikings a week into the preseason. Because let me tell you, when I heard about the JJ McCarthy news, hearing about a Vikings quarterback getting injured, during during practice or preseason, all of that, the first thing I immediately thought of was the Teddy Bridgewater stuff, because that shit still terrifies me. Like
Yeah,
that whole saga
that
still
was
haunts me.
awful. That was just
Mhm.
as a Vikings fan, that was terrible in its own way because he showed like a lot of growth in his sophomore year and like never got to really realize any of that because of that injury he sustained. And
Yeah.
I think it's very unfortunate that he went out like he did. And it's I wake up and I immediately start screaming in agony.
It's okay though. You have CJ Ham.
Oh yeah, the ham, and
Ham God.
I guess Brian Flores' defenses. From what I hear, that like front seven is like scary. From what I
Oh
hear.
my God. Sorry, it just hit me. It's not darn sanity. It's insanity.
Insanity!
Wow.
Yes! Yes!
Oh god.
It's
No,
the
no, no,
insanity
but-
run. I kind of want it to happen now. No, but, Spencer, you were making a good point though. Like that defense, despite the issues in the secondary, health-wise, is still going to be good. Like Bullard, Phillips, and Grenard is a great, front, and then Van Ginkel and Turner and Pat Jones.
God, Ivan Pace Jr. Holy
Yeah.
shit!
Ivan Pace was incredible last year. Blake Cashman was really good on the Texans. Brian Asamoah is good for what he is. Camu Grugier-Hill, Bears legend. He's another guy who's like
And we
solid.
drafted fucking Dallas Turner.
Yeah.
Like
Dallas
that
Turner's really
potentially could be
interesting.
like the steal of the draft too, because he was projected to be in the top 10. He fell all the way to 17.
And somebody who I think is the real steal of the draft, Levi Drake Rodriguez, defensive
Let's
tackle
go.
out of Texas A&M Commerce.
What a
I
guy.
will say this though, I don't think their entire secondary is awful. I mean, despite Harrison Smith being a rather interesting person,
He's
just
a
to leave it at
grandpa, but
that.
he's a ball hawk of a grandpa.
What do you mean a rather interesting person? Is it just because he's old? Is that how you describe old people, or is there something I don't know?
He
He
seems
calls me
like the type of guy
rather
to eat
interesting at the
hot dogs.
DMs.
Wait.
He seems like the type of guy to eat hot dogs.
He's
but,
he's in his unk
my
art.
God.
Oh my
Oh, okay.
goodness
So we're just
gracious.
calling Harry Arg. Okay.
no.
Taking
not
you in
just
hot
Harrison
dogs.
not
Harrison
Butker.
Smith.
You
Oh
can,
God.
Harrison Smith just has some very interesting views on stuff, but that doesn't matter. Harrison
Really?
Smith is still, yes.
He is anti-vax, I believe.
No, he's not. Tell
Yeah.
me you're lying. No,
He was one of the people that was like, I stand with Kirk Cousins and his non-vaccination.
Okay, that is slightly better. I thought you meant like like baby vaccines. I forgot about the whole anti-COVID vaccine thing. Still not
Yeah, I
great.
forgot about
But,
that.
I thought you were about to
I
tell me
mean-
Harrison Smith has kids that like weren't vaccinated for measles and
Oh,
smallpox.
you mean like full-on Jay Cutler
Yeah.
type shit?
Yeah, I thought that's where you were going with that. Oh my god. Still not great, but better than what I thought.
But yeah, also we have Byron Murphy and
I mean, Josh Metellus is a reason to be excited.
oh yeah, Metellus and I really like that one guy from the Philippines, Cam Bynum.
Is that where Cam
His
Bynum's
wife.
from?
Yeah, he's from the Philippines.
I didn't know that.
His wife's also from the Philippines as well, if I recall. No, he was born in California. His wife was from the Philippines.
Yeah, I remember because he wanted he did a GoFundMe to make sure his wife was able to get to America.
That I remember. Okay, that makes. Okay.
I was just gonna say real quick too, and we haven't brought this up yet, but like, Aaron Jones has two paths. He has Melvin Gordon, or he has the greatest season of his life.
Aaron
He has
Gordon's
two
gonna be
paths.
great. He's gonna be great. Aaron Gordon, yeah. Aaron Jones is gonna be great. I don't know about Aaron Gordon. I don't follow the Nuggets.
No, Melvin Gordon.
Yeah,
No.
that's where the Gordon came from in my head. But I'm saying Aaron Jones is gonna be great. Cause listen, this offensive line's really good. I mean, this
Yeah.
tackle duo with
Like-
Darrison O'Neal is incredible.
Yeah, and we got him back, folks. Fucking God. We
Fun
got
fact.
Dalton Reisner back.
Dalton
Yes.
Reisner is great. That
Hey,
is
here's a-
Geek's Pookie Boo Boo Bear right there. That man is obsessed with Dalton
Here-
Reisner.
Here's a little fun fact. Aaron Jones turns 30 in December 2nd. On December 2nd, Melvin Gordon will be 31 years old.
Oh,
What the fuck? That doesn't feel right.
oh, that's gross. Why did you tell me that? Oh,
Great,
but
no,
no.
I feel incredibly old.
That feels wrong in the same way that finding out that like Randy Moss and Colin Kaepernick played on the same team.
That is. Wild.
Yeah,
That
that
is-
is so cursed.
I mean,
That's so cursed.
if
I
you
am
want,
terrified now.
what's a
Holy
little quick-
crap.
Hagen,
wanna
you're
hear
crapping out.
something funny? Oh God.
That's not just me getting that. But yeah, no, the run game with Aaron Jones is going to be huge. Aaron Jones is great. He's one of the 10 best running backs in the sport.
And also, he's like the heart of the locker room, from what I hear from Packers fans.
Yeah, big locker room guy, big personality guy, very lovable player. I mean, even as a Bears fan, I can't help but like him to a certain degree, you
Yeah.
know?
I respect him.
But
I,
getting to run behind not only that offensive line, but more importantly, CJ Ham is going to be huge for him. Like, he is in, I would say, one of the best situations he's been in his career, and they're going to lean on him with Sam Darnold at quarterback.
and I'm gonna be honest. I think, as sad as I am about JJ McCarthy, I think Sam Darnold is possibly in one of the best situations he could have landed in, other than going back to San Francisco.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, his options were, the only options are a Jets team ran by Adam Gase and a Panthers team ran by Matt Rule. By default, he has a football team. Granted, it's not like a flashy, but like I would consider the Jets team to be like a Papa Warner team, and the Panthers team to be Pee Wee football.
Yeah.
Also,
I mean,
I remembered
honestly-
what I was going to say. Raheem Mostert is 32, by the way. I
Yeah,
felt like
Yeah.
I needed that to sink in. Melvin Gordon is the same age is very close to the same age as Raheem Mostert.
Yeah.
that feels right.
Yeah, I
Raheem
mean,
Mostert's
my-
unk, we know that.
yeah, we know that. My thing with the Vikings is, I do think this will be a competitive team, because even for how ugly things got last season in terms of some of the games they had, a lot of the Vikings games, including the losses, were very competitive. Like, they were close games that they ended up losing, which, funny enough, were a lot of those close games that they, won a lot of in 2022 that ended up being the opposite effect in 2023. But my thing with the Vikings is I definitely think the run game will be better this season now that you have Aaron Jones, and seemingly it seems like, hey, Vikings locker room, or the Packers locker room loved him a lot, should do very well with the Vikings locker room. My main thing, though, because I'm not expecting much from Sam Darnold, but I feel like the big thing with the passing game is, can the weapons stay healthy? Because obviously we know Addison has an injury, which, from what I've heard, it's not a serious injury. It's still, like, it will still, take some time to recover, but it's not like the worst case scenario. And I know, pretty sure T.J. Hawkinson's also been on. Isn't he on the PUP list?
He's
still hurt from
he's
last year.
actually ahead of pace for his ACL injury, though.
Alright,
That's
that's
to
good.
hear.
That's good to hear. And obviously Justin Jefferson, which we know what we're getting from him. If he can stay healthy, then Sam Darnold will obviously have him to work with. But my only concern with the Vikings offense is just, and it definitely speaks. It's definitely more personal because I saw how bad the Vikings offense was last season when you had a you had subpar quarterback play and Justin Jefferson was out. And I mainly say that because living in Vegas, I got to watch the Vikings Raiders game last season in its
Uh,
entire length.
yeah, I was on a train that entire time, headed back from Minnesota to Michigan, and I wanted to die the entire time, except for the end where it was like, "Oh, hey, neat, we won." And
Yeah,
I'm
that was
going
a
to.
special kind of football. That was a special kind.
That game was
yeah,
I
in
want to
the
say
same way that
beautiful.
this
my
real
mom
quick.
thinks I'm special.
I think that we need to start blaming Kevin O'Connell a little bit for what he's done. Because last year, I think he made a
No.
couple.
No.
Yeah, I think that's a classic Taegan take.
I
Let,
disagree.
This
let
is
me
see
I'll let you
again. This
finish.
is why I said I don't like agreeing with you on things.
let-
Kevin
let-
O'Connell is the
let-
only reason this team didn't suck last year.
Yeah, he has this. You know, he has. He's consistently turned the offense into like a top 5 unit. Like,
Yeah.
I've seen him make some. The thing is with him, do I think he's awful? No, but I feel like he doesn't get. I don't feel like he gets enough blame because last year there were some pretty baffling play calling decisions by him that I was just scratching my head at. Do I
Like
think
what?
he needs to be okay during the Vikings Raiders game? I think it was like the one pass where I'm blanking on his name now.
Nick Mullins?
No, not Nick Mullins. It
Josh,
was
Josh,
Josh Dobbs. Yeah,
yeah,
there
Josh
was
Dobbs.
one play where they tried to have Josh Dobbs throw deep on a 3rd and 1 when they could have just ran the ball up the middle.
With
and like
who?
looking at those, what?
Do you listen? Let me ask you this. Genuinely speaking, with how bad the Vikings run game was last year, with
Yeah,
Alexander Madison
like-
and Nick Mullins, or not Nick Mullins, Ty Chandler, excuse me.
And
You
fucking
really-
the corpse of Cam Akers.
Right. Do you really like blame them for not trusting the what's it
That
called? The
huge
run on
red
3rd
front
and 1?
game.
Right, and not only that, but the play itself. I'm not being a smartass. I'm just like asking genuinely, right? How do we know that Kevin O'Connell was like, hey, throw this fade route or throw this deep ball when it could have easily been, hey, there's a short option that's going to be at the sticks, but if you see a look you like, take that because that's a normal thing on 3rd and 1, right?
That's reasonable, and I can
Like, I
understand
can't
that
speak
point.
to the exact situation, but I'm saying Kevin O'Connell is one of those play callers where he has done such fantastic work, like specifically with Josh Dobbs, getting him acclimated into the offense so quickly and finding success with him so quickly. Despite, I know this is a sad thing to say, but Dobbs is like not a great quarterback. He's not a great thrower of the football. So, winning games with him and making him look competent with everything else going on, I think is a testament to how good of a coach he is. And I have never seen anything from him in terms of play calling, in terms of play design, where I'm, as you said, scratching my head. I think it's more of a,
I
maybe he
personally
has
wouldn't have done that, but
Well,
Right,
Yeah,
maybe,
and
Agree.
and if that's the case, I can accept that. It's just I don't know. I I feel like he I feel like he needs a little bit more, and I feel like this year he's going to really be tested. Last year he was tested. Don't get me wrong, but like if he can turn this team into like a potential playoff contender, then I will retract my statement about him. But for now, I'm still kind of scratching my head with him.
My thing with
But he
Kevin,
can
like
change
the way
that.
I see it with Kevin, because I think he's fine. Like, honestly, like yeah, there will be. I understand the whole notion, like with play calls, because my issue with play calls is like, I'm more of a guy where it's like, unless you do something completely like idiotic in terms of a play call, I'll be more like, yeah, I wouldn't have done that, but I can understand the logic. Like that's kind of
Right.
the guy I am. My thing with Kevin is I understand, like, yeah, there were some rough games for the Vikings last year, but I also remember, like, they were having to start guys like, Josh Dobbs, Nick Mullins. I mean, they had to start freaking, God, who was that other quarterback? Jaron Hall, I believe?
Yeah, Jaron Hall.
Hey, listen, I
like-
will not accept Jaron Hall slander in my presence.
I'm sorry, dog, but like, he's.
Hey,
Yeah,
ain't
he,
it,
he
you
is
ain't
better
it.
than.
You-
I will give you
Mon
credit.
2.0.
He is better than Nick Mullins, aka the second coming of Rex Grossman.
yeah, Taegan, you just tried to say that Kevin O'Connell's not that good of a head coach. I don't want to
Yeah.
hear you speak.
Yeah.
Hey, you'll
That
hear
might
me
be a
speak
little
no matter
rude.
what.
I
Yeah.
know, but
Don't.
I mean,
Bro had such a bad take, his internet went out.
Yeah.
oh,
Oh my God. But the
I
point I do
hate-
want to make, though, is the
No,
Vikings,
it
like,
doesn't
there is
freaking
flaws.
car.
There's flaws with the Vikings, but I do really like their coaching staff. Like, I like O'Connell, I like Flores. I think they've both done a strong job so far. And yeah, I just like their coaching staff. Like, not much else to add there.
Pretty much
Also,
all I would
too,
add is that I find Kevin O'Connell attractive.
I do want to bring up real quick. Every time I go to PFR, my fucking internet seems to just go kaput, and I think it's because of the shitty goddamn Chromebook that can't hold more than 2 tabs at one time. Anywho, what?
calling it a shitty Chromebook is very
Redundant.
redundant. Yeah, I forgot the word for a second. It's a Chromebook.
Look, I've had the look. I want to get a new PC, but like, I mean, not a new PC, a new like laptop. But like, I have a car that needs fixed more important. That's
No,
more
I'm
important right now.
Understandably so. But
But
no, I don't see how Kevin O'Connell should get any more blame than he already is. Like, I'm not saying he's perfect. He's not without flaw. Every coach has their moments. Every coach
Right.
has a questionable play call. But like, Kevin O'Connell has done far more good than bad. And not
Yeah.
only from a culture perspective, but from a schematic perspective, from a play calling perspective.
Oh my God, his impact on the culture, like, holy shit,
Like-
he's like, compare him to the Mike Zimmer years, and
Right.
it's like night and fucking day.
Yeah, I
it's
just
just because Mike Zimmer built a culture of fear, and any head coach that comes in and like gets rid of that just immediately is better, even if they're just like a mouthpiece or like a blank slate.
And I don't think he is.
no Kevin O'Connell. Dude. He's a Sean McVay guy. Like,
He's
No, I get
one of
that.
the better
I'm just
Sean
saying-
McVay guys,
yeah,
mind you.
I would say out of the McVay guys we've seen turn into head coaches, he's been the best.
yeah, exactly.
I'm just
Maybe-
saying.
Forgetting some
Maybe
folks.
him
I'm
and
just
Matt
saying it's
LaFleur.
not impossible. I'm just saying
Oh,
that it's
yeah,
not
but
that hard to
LaFleur-
change a
The
culture.
floor was a McVay guy.
I mean, the thing that's going to be my final judgment on Kevin O'Connell is how are you going to do with JJ McCarthy? He's
Yeah.
he's out for the season. How much are you going to hammer? Hey, we're going to make I'm going to be on your ass about studying this playbook. I'm going to need you to be, we're going to sit down. We're going to go over every single bad read that Sam Darnold had, and you're going to explain to me why was it a bad read. You're going to be able to know this playbook inside and out. You're out for the season. Guess what? You're going to be able to learn the full. I need you to learn the full playbook immediately. Like, that's the kind of thing that's going to be the true test for any head coach is how do you do with a rookie quarterback? How do you do at development? That is the telling tale of every single head coach. It's why Robert Sala's going to be out at the end of the Jets season this year. It's why we see a lot of other head coaches just not make it because you don't develop the rookie. You gotta develop the rookie.
I do want to say something real quick about the Vikings. I do think they have probably the roughest stretch of games going into the season because even though they get a game with the Giants at the beginning, they get Niners, then Texans, then Packers, then Jets, then Lions, then Rams, then Colts, and like that's just miserable. That is just a miserable lineup of games.
At least
Oh,
we
it
got
is?
by halfway through.
It is, like, don't get me wrong, the North is going to be very competitive. But, like, they're not going to be the worst. I
Yeah,
think they're going to be the worst
Right.
fourth place team. That's right, the best fourth place team out of anybody else.
Yeah,
You still have Justin Jefferson, who is an absolute god. I think this year you focus on the running game. We're all happy that Jordan Addison is not out for the season, right? And even though it sucks that JJ McCarthy is out for this year, I don't think he was going to play at all this year, except for like the last 4 games of the season. So we already know what's going to happen. We already know that now he's got the entire time to set the playbook. The nerfs that happened to the Vikings, I think the secondary is going to feel it a lot because, you know, you got 2 guys that are out for the season with injury, and one of them who,
And one of them is
unfortunately,
out for the life.
That is a
holy
morbid way to put that.
fuck, Spencer.
Holy damn.
I was about to say who unfortunately
Yeah.
passed away. Oh my god.
Everyone deals with trauma differently, but damn.
Look,
All
I've been
right.
a Vikings fan for all 28 years of my life. It gets to you sometimes.
That hurt.
See, honey, this is going to be what happens to you when Patrick Mahomes retires. This is going to be you. Enjoy it.
But
She's in the chat. She's been hanging.
But I will say this, since I kind of feel like we are moving towards a sort of floor and ceiling, my thing with the Minnesota is so competent team, but I just think that they have a very rough beginning. There is a legitimate chance for this team to be like 1-9 by week 10. Just because of how many tough opponents they're facing. Not saying they can't get a couple wins. Anything is possible. But like it is just completely just everything against them this year. And like for floor and ceiling, I feel like for their ceiling, could they squeak out 10 wins? I think so. But their floor, I don't know, man. Their floor is just one of those teams where, like, I don't want to give them a 4, but, like, the 4 seems like the most reasonable option.
Well, as the Vikings fan here, my floor is 3, actually. I could see them very easily being bottom of the league if everything shakes out wrong. But my ceiling for them is actually a 12-win team as they go on an insanity run and just dominate and just come out of nowhere to just show the league what for. Let Kwesi cook, baby.
I'll go with something similar to, I'll go with what Taegan said, because I think the Vikings will be they'll be competitive even if their record doesn't show it, but there's also going to be teams that are more talented and probably just better than them, especially early on, that they're going to have to face, and yeah, floor for the Vikings will be 4, ceiling, I'll go 10. I think 10's fitting.
I'm going to go floor 3, ceiling 9.
I'm thinking they land somewhere between a 5 and a 9. So a floor of 9, ceiling, or floor of 9, yeah. Good lord, words are hard. A floor of 5 and a ceiling of 9. There we go.
For the record, if it does happen, I call 50-50 on an insanity t-shirt.
You know what?
Well, guys, we're actually to the biggest part of this all, the only thing that we've actually let up for, and that is the global dunking on and shitting on the Green Bay Packers.
I say let's please be neutral on the Packers, even though you're all North fans. Come on. Let's...
No.
No.
Kendrick Lamar has taught me that I need to be a bigger hater in my life. And let me just get the ball rolling with a nice welcome meeting. Fuck the Packers. And what do I mean by that? Well, let's go forward with it. You barely squeaked into the playoffs, and yet everybody is just sucking you off on the national media like you actually fucking did something. Like, oh my god, Jordan Love, he had a good season. Whoa! Ignoring the fact that he had this season at fucking 24 years old, mind you.
Not to mention, too, the culture based on winning is winning football games.
Actually, he's 25. Never mind. CJ Stroud just had a similar season at 22 years old, and you guys decided to respond in kind by making him the most expensive fucking quarterback in the National Football League. Wow. Glad you could do that while also chasing out your heart and soul of running back Aaron Jones to honestly your biggest rival, which it's not the first time your heart and soul has gone to Minnesota. Why does it keep happening? Better look at that Brian Gutekunst, or as I like to call him, Ted Thompson with a skincare routine. And quite frankly, the additions you've made, I don't think they'll make as big of an impact as you think they will. I think Josh Jacobs is due for some regression, and Xavier McKinney, I just don't think he's got it as the main safety. And also, Jair Alexander, most overrated goddamn cornerback I've ever seen. I beat Justin Jefferson. Look at me, I beat Justin Jefferson. Fuck you. Forget to mention the 2 fucking safeties you also had on Justin Jefferson. Meanwhile, every time a Bears quarterback, wide receiver, so much as looks at you, you instantly turn into burnt fucking toast. Fuck this team. And fuck the national attention that they so undeservedly get.
Okay, alright.
So what you're saying is Packers fans are Justin Fields fans.
Yeah, they're basically
same thing on the same tier as Cowboys fans.
Yeah, they're basically like the Yinzers of the NFC.
Yeah, I can say that. Okay, now that Spencer is, we're good. Let's get on to, I like to be nice. I was even nice about the Niners. I'll be so.
Productive conversation.
Here's the thing. It was too early. I will say this. It was way too early to pay Jordan Love. You sign the bridge. You decline the 5th-year option to essentially sign the bridge option to say, hey, you know what? Let's see what you got for 2 seasons. I think he had a really good second half. I think once he settled in nicely, he did really good. He's a mix of Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. I like the gunslinging that he has on the Brett Favre side. But to me right now, it's kind of a weird kind of trade. You let Aaron Jones walk, but you sign Josh Jacobs. Okay. Sure. But they also have, who's their current backup right now? I want to look at the...
Marshawn Lloyd and A.J. Dillon.
You still have A.J. Dillon, who can be... I find him to be quite reliable. I think they got a young and unproven wide receiving core. They've got good guys. They've got a lot of really good players around it. But to me, we're gonna look at the guys who got paid this offseason, we're going to be looking at every single move they have, every single play that they do under a microscope. Jordan Love's going to be under a microscope. Jared Goff is going to be under a microscope. Trevor Lawrence, Tua Tagovailoa. We are going to really look at them, engage this microscope, and we're going to see, did these guys, it wasn't really time to pay these quarterbacks. I think I needed to see one more year of Jordan Love as a starter, lead his team to the playoffs, and they're like, yes, absolutely, you're going to make him the highest paid quarterback. But to make him the highest paid quarterback after 1 year, sure, it was a great year. You go into Dallas and beat the absolute tar out of them, which
hasn't been an accomplishment in 25 years.
Hold on, Spencer. Hold on. You did it in a la Aaron Rodgers style, right? Right, like we've seen Cowboys lose in funny ways by one-score games, but you went into Dallas and beat the absolute tar out of them. You hang in tightly with the Niners. That was awesome.
He throws a boneheaded interception, just like
Brett Favre. Just like Brett Favre. You're absolutely right. But now, don't throw the boneheaded interception just like Brett Favre. Learn and grow from it, and do what you did and lead to the Packers again. And if you do, the North is going to collectively mold. I know so many people in the North that are not Packers fans that just wants the Packers to be bad.
Not bad. No. Not
hold
bad.
on. Let me finish. To go under stringent period of being bad, just like the Cleveland Browns, just like the Jacksonville Jaguars, just like the Raiders. They want to see that for a while. The Patriots are now discovering, what's life like without dominating a franchise quarterback. You're going to see all of that, right? And now the funny part is you've now paid this quarterback who I think he's top 5 in the NFC for now, but I need to see another year of him before I would give him the highest paid in the NFL. I gotta wait and see it. I mean, the absolute funniest thing would be Jordan Love just falling off a cliff in next year. I think that would be the perfect thing because you're now stuck with him, or you're gonna take on a massive dead cap situation like the Denver Broncos are going through, and I think it's different because.
And I will be laughing at them the entire way.
So, to me, we're going to need to see there's a lot of pressure of any quarterback to perform is Jordan Love. It's Jordan Love or nothing. It is all on Jordan Love.
Did not perform.
If Jordan Love doesn't perform, the Packers are set back and will be finally entering the arc of the world of suck. And I'm okay with it because you know what? It's the Lions' time. It's the Bears' time. Sorry, Spencer.
Fuck you.
It's the other team's time to shine, right? We got to see. We like to see the difference, but good organizations, and as much as you hate to say it, the Packers are just that. Sure, they don't have the hardware, as much hardware as, say, like Niners, Steelers, Patriots, right? But they've proven to, continue a long period of success, and that's what currently is going on right now. And if Jordan Love doesn't perform well, he's going to be probably the most hated man in Wisconsin.
Although he will get the keys to the city of the Twin Cities if that happens.
Because I need to see another year. Jordan Love took, Jordan Love, could Jordan Love be a trend of, you draft a project, you let the guy sit for 2 years, and then you finally unleash him on the world, and then he plays to his ceiling. We could see that too. But just as a reminder, and I said this last year, Jordan Love is a franchise-level quarterback. You know who your daddy is. But I don't think it's going to be as easy as it's been in past franchise quarterbacks. I don't think there was a team that could really that was really there when Favre was playing. Same thing with Rodgers. The NFC is going to be an absolute bloodbath, and the Packers, they might have to adjust a lot of things to catch up, because this could be the year. If Jordan Love isn't it, they're going to fall behind for a very, very long time. If they have a bad year and Jordan Love isn't the franchise, or Jordan Love is just that B-level average quarterback that we hear in the legends, it's just, oh look, it's overpaid Kirk Cousins, but north. No, Cheesehead Kirk Cousins. There we go. Cheesehead Kirk Cousins.
Cheese Kirk.
Yes. Is he going to be Cheese Kirk? Because, you know, that's a scenario where you're not going to be bad per se, right? But, you know, you're going to be just mid, whereas you got a team like the Bears, who have assembled probably one of the best offenses that the NFC that they have ever assembled in their team history. Reminder, Bears are a defensive culture, right? The Lions have emerged from years of darkness, right? And the Vikings, sure, they're going to be drag kicking and screaming into rebuild, but they're going to come out of it probably better than they've ever been. They'll be able to, like,
and I've liked what our GM has done so far.
I think it's like a coloring page, and I think the Vikings are just, you know, you're coloring in the hard spots. You're trying to round out this roster, and I think when J.J. McCarthy is fully healed next year, get ready, because the Vikings are going to be incredible. You have Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson. They have.
Oh, I forgot to mention in the Vikings thing. We have a new quarterback in town, and his name is Matt Corral.
Oh my god.
And good to see UFL guys, especially if you're in the Birmingham team. They've turned out quarterbacks that have gone straight into the NFL. We'll talk more about that another day. The Packers are a team that it's like a teeter-totter. It's either going to be status quo, or you're going to completely fall behind. Because the North, well, you guys, you know, have been teetering on a fringe Super Bowl contender. The Bears have landed themselves into probably one of the best assembled teams that they have seen since the 80s, except this time it's all about offensive, whereas in the 80s it was all about defense. So I think you can get the defense equivalent of the 85 Bears, except on offense, if you kind of get the gist of it. The Detroit Lions realized how good your football team could be when you put the right pieces of the puzzle together. And I hope Detroit maintains that for a long time. The Vikings, they're going to be coloring in the blanks, but next year, there's a lot of teams that are going to be wanting your blood, Green Bay. And if there's any team that has the most pressure to perform, it's not the Cowboys, it's not the Niners, it's the Packers. Because it's like you're at that final fight stage where can you beat down your rivals like you did in past years? Because if you
Everybody wants to see you fail.
your rivals are going to kick your ass down the stairs. And just like the Patriots, no one's going to feel bad. And we will all tell Gage
I can't wait for Aaron Jones to get a bunch of yards on this on this team.
Sure, you have Josh Jacobs. He's very injury prone. I'm sorry, he's very injury prone. So, in conclusion, Packers have a lot of... It's do or die this year. You have the hounds of your division at your doorstep.
And I hope they die.
This is it. If you fall behind, I think this year will be... It's going to be very hard to climb back up. Very hard. But if you do, well, then I said it last year, and I warned everybody last year, if, you know, Be careful. If Jordan Love is that guy, god damn it, they did it again. I can
Anyway.
pass it on to everybody else.
Can I do something sacrilegious? I kind of want to do something sacrilegious.
I
Okay.
want to hear it.
Sure.
Do it.
I can't believe I hate saying this out loud. I've said it before, but amongst Bears fans, it feels hard to say. I think Green Bay is the best team in the NFC North.
Fuck you.
From top to bottom, I think they have the best roster in this division right now.
No.
Yeah, they
In the
do.
NFL.
Fuck off.
They
In the
Fuck
NFL,
off.
the
no,
Bears,
I agree.
I'm sorry, the
Yeah,
Bears
I
are
agree.
too unproven right now, and
That's
the Lions
the
need to do it
only
another
reason why-
year.
Precisely.
Well, yeah.
Listen, here's the thing. I don't agree with it being too early to pay Jordan Love. Because, listen, he showed you in the back half of last year that he can play like a top 5 quarterback. And unlike Goff, he showed that when the lights are bright, he can step up. He can put the team on his shoulders and say, listen, we're all young. Somebody's got to be the big hoss in town. I can do it. You've got
I
Matt before.
disagree.
I mean, he did it pretty consistently in the back half. Like, in the regular season, he did it. And against, who was it they fell apart against in the playoffs?
Niners.
Was it San Fran that got him? I
Niners.
Yeah,
can't
it was the
remember.
Yeah,
Niners.
San Francisco.
San
Yes,
Fran,
but
Sanford, he made the classic Favre bad crossbody interception. I know.
yeah, but you know who else he did that against? Fucking Tommy DeVito and the Giants.
That
They
game
did
was
lose that game
funny.
against the Giants. Yeah. Okay. So he hasn't done it. Okay, he's not doing it at a consistent level yet. He's not doing it at an all-time great level yet, right? First year as a full starter. Okay, he's not Rodgers. He's not Favre. He's not Brady. He's not Montana. But he looked really damn good. And the consistent development we've seen, we saw Jordan Love a little bit the year before. He had the big game against the Chiefs. And he had a couple really nice throws against Philly the year before. The consistent development that we have seen from him is enough for me to be okay with that payment. Now, I know him being the highest paid quarterback at the time he signed the deal seemed crazy. That's how the quarterback market works. The next guy up is going to get paid more than the last guy that got paid. That's just the reality of the situation,
The
right?
fact that
And-
you look at Patrick Mahomes' $49.5 million deal looks like an absolute bargain in comparison.
Exactly. Quarterbacks, when it comes to how much they're getting paid, I feel like it's pointless to look at it because today, fucking Billy Jones is the highest paid quarterback in the league, but a year from now he's 13th, right? Like, it doesn't matter at the end of the day how much a quarterback is getting paid if they're playing good football. Like Jared Goff, even though I don't agree with paying him, my problem isn't the amount of money they're paying him. It's just the idea of paying him, right? Because I understand why they gave Goff the amount that he got, because he's the quarterback on the team right now, and that was the only option they had. With Jordan Love, it's the same thing. They didn't really have another option, and I would argue that the upside of Jordan Love, the potential that he showed, not even just the potential, but what he showed on the field last year is enough to be like, okay, when he does this consistently, because that's the mindset you're coming from Green Bay, when he does this consistently, not if, this is going to look incredible. This is going to look like a Mahomes deal here in 3 years. So you've got that. You've got this young receiver core where I know there's been a lot of dialogue about there's not a true number one, and I do agree with that. But you're like 5, maybe 6 deep here, because Christian Watson, when healthy, is good enough. Romeo Doubs looks great. Jaden Reed looks great. Dontavian Wicks looks great. Bo Melton had big games last year. Grant DeBose has been killing it in camp so far. The tight end room, you've got Luke Musgrave, who has all the makings of this super hyper athletic tight end. Tucker Kraft is a really nice tight end too. Reminds me a lot of Cole Kmet in the sense of just being a really solid inline tight end. Granted, I don't think he'll be as good as Kmet, but he's a great tight end too. Offensive line, top to bottom, is great. I really like the Jordan Morgan pickup. Zach Tom is really solid. Josh Myers is really solid. Elton Jenkins is incredible. Defensively, you've got 2 guys that I would argue are top 10 at their position on the defensive line, and Rashawn Gary and Kenny Clark. Preston Smith does his job. Lucas Van Ness is somebody I'm a big fan of. Carl Brooks, Colby Wooden, Kingsley and Agbear, all guys that are really solid. Linebacker core has a ton of potential. Don't love Quay Walker, but he's fine for what he is. Edrin Cooper out of Texas A&M is someone I adore. Tyron Hopper, if you can teach him how to do anything but run forward, he can be really solid. Jair Alexander, I know he's another very controversial figure. His mouth doesn't match his play sometimes. But at the end of the day, I would be hard-pressed to find 10 corners better than him.
Yeah.
And then at safety, Javon Bullard looked great at Georgia. I'm a big fan of what he brings to the table. Xavier McKinney complements him perfectly because while he's not the most athletic guy in the world, his football IQ and his ability to just read an offense is off the charts. Eric Stokes is an okay CB2. Keyshawn Nixon does his work from the nickel. Like, I don't see the reason I say this is the best team in the North is because I don't see a single position where I can look and say that's a weakness or you are relying entirely on upside there. I think this is a team that is incredibly well-rounded. And even if, like I said, the receiver room doesn't have that true standout, they have guys that know what they need to do. And Matt LaFleur did an incredible job last year with a bunch of no-name receivers and took them to the playoffs and won a playoff game. Now you're running it back the next year with those same receivers who are only going to be better, with a Jordan Love that's only going to be better and is still only 25. The run game, I do agree, takes a step back because I don't think Josh Jacobs is half the running back Aaron Jones is. And honestly, having him and A.J. Dillon together is kind of redundant. But I'm sure they have a vision. And Marshawn Lloyd is a really exciting the third down back, scat back, whatever you want to call him, to complement those two. So I don't think it's the end of the world. This is a team that is incredibly well coached. They have the best coach in the NFC North. They have a quarterback where the sky is the limit for him, and he's already shown he's capable of playing big football. They have really good weapons. They have a good offensive line. They have a good defense that isn't run by Joe Barry anymore. What else do you need? What else can you ask for?
Well, I personally would ask
that can
for
make a
a
field goal.
nuclear bomb dropped directly on Green Bay, Wisconsin. But
No, don't get me wrong. I hate them too. I hate their guts, and I wish they would all just fucking quit football. I don't want to wish ill will on their players because I'm not that type of person. But if everyone on the Packers just woke up tomorrow and was like, you know what? Football's not for me, then that would be fantastic. I would love that. That would be incredible. But, I just don't see a world where this team isn't, like I said, I think this is the best team in the NFC North. I don't see a world where this team isn't at least second in this division and making the playoffs and making some noise.
There is one position where they're the absolute worst at, and that is kicker. Carl Anders is one of the worst kickers in the NFL.
And then,
y'all were just casting up a dude from the UFL. I don't want to hear it.
Dude. Wait, to really own the libs after the Aaron Jones fiasco, they decided to sign fucking Ryan Longwell, aka fucking. Wait, was it Ryan Long?
They have Greg Joseph and Andrew
Greg
Carlson
Joseph, that's what I mean. AKA Greg the shit leg Joseph.
He's from South
You
Africa.
know what?
I don't know.
Okay. You know.
We'll
sorry.
let Nick,
You
we'll
can
let Nick have a
finish,
go.
David.
We'll finish
I
that.
was
We'll let
just-
Nick have a go.
Yeah.
Oh no, you can finish, David. You can finish.
I think they'll be fine. I'm not worried about their kicker situation. If it really becomes that big of an issue, they'll figure something
know,
out.
I'm
I
just-
have faith in their
I'm
front
just
office.
memeing.
No, I understand.
memeing.
I'm just saying because I mean, you're not wrong. That is like the one position on their roster. I'm like, okay, maybe that could end up being a problem at some point. But I
Will we
think
get
they'll
the
be fine.
quadruple doink? Will that be the Packers
God.
breaking
That-
Off one
moment?
upright, off the
funny.
other, bottom
Yes.
left, bottom right, off the middle, and then it goes out, and then the Packers suck forever. I'm with it.
Yes, that'd be
Yes.
brilliant.
Oh,
That would be.
The fucking
It would be
pentagram
brilliant.
in the field goal.
Dude, I'd fucking ascend if that happened, bro.
But what did you want to say?
Now,
Nick?
yeah, I have some thoughts to say because, look, as a Bears fan here, I feel like my thoughts will be a bit similar to David because honestly, I can't doubt this Packers team. Not after last season. I just cannot doubt this team after last season because last season it was more of, okay, I don't think the Packers will, do what they've done previous years. I do think there is promise here, but I am not as optimistic on them as I would be in other years. Now, of course, they had some struggles, even though, yes, they still own the Bears, but they did have some struggles in, first half of the season, but knowing how Matt LaFleur teams go, they heat up in the second half, and what do you expect? The Packers heated up very strongly in the second half, and, they just, They just did really well the end of season, and then obviously the playoffs. And look, I know the Cowboys are the Cowboys, but like they were winning that game 48-16 in the fourth quarter. Like that is not something to just scoff at.
Dallas was favored over them too. Like, like everyone thought Dallas was going to win that game, and they went out and mollywopped them with the youngest roster in the league.
Yeah.
Which is another reason to hate Dallas, because they made the 7th seed seem like it's actually needed in the NFL.
Yeah, and then you had the divisional round, which yes, they did lose to the 49ers, but they were very damn close to beating the 49ers. I was watching that game and I'm like, "Oh God, please do not tell me this team's going to make the NFC title game, for the love of God." But yeah, that was really when I'm like, okay, the Packers have work to do, but there is definitely something here that they're building that definitely scares me. Now, regarding Jordan Love, yes, he is 25. Yes, I don't think he's up to the level of, like, is he a franchise quarterback yet? I'm not going to say a definitive yes, but I will absolutely say he's a good quarterback. Like, last season showed, the man's a good quarterback. My question with Jordan Love is, can he be a great quarterback? Can he be a franchise quarterback? That's really the big question for Jordan Love now. Because, obviously, last year we saw some of those, young, like, those rookie mistakes you see from someone like Jordan Love, or someone still being ironed out there. Because like I know Spencer mentioned the Giants game, which that was pretty rough. I think in terms of like Jordan Love's early struggles, the game that really highlighted those struggles was probably the Raiders game. That Raiders Monday Night Football game, which that was really funny to watch.
Or the
yes.
fact that they unironically lost to the Arthur Smith Falcons.
Yeah,
that was
they did lose that game.
I did want to bring this up. Go ahead, Nick.
Oh yeah, I feel like the game where I'm like, okay, you know what? The game where I really noticed like Love was really taking that next step was probably the Thanksgiving game against the Detroit Lions, where he just really balled out against the Lions on Thanksgiving. He had a great game during that. Then, there was that game against the Chiefs where he had another great game. And I feel like the game where I really knew with Jordan Love, it's like, okay, yeah, he's a good quarterback. The moment I really knew that, okay, he's proving me wrong, was that Sunday Night Football game against the Vikings, where he just completely diced that defense. Like, it was ugly watching how badly he was dicing that Vikings defense. And I know the Vikings defense has their flaws, but that's a defense coached by Brian Flores, and Jordan Love looked fucking fantastic out there.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
I'm saying.
It was pretty. That was a really good offensive showcase. It just didn't help that we had sexy Rexy Mullins. Under center.
That did not help. Understandable, but second half of the season really showed. Okay, Jordan Love is a good quarterback, but the question now remains: okay, can he be a great quarterback? And I feel like this season could definitely really go far in terms of answering that. Now, in other positions, we mentioned the run game. I definitely have concerns about Josh Jacobs in 2024. I know how great he can be. Obviously, I've seen many Raiders games living in Vegas, but there's also the injury concern and the fact that last season was definitely a step back compared to the career season he had in 2022. Which obviously, some running backs, when they have a step back like that, they never recover from it. So, going to be interesting to see how Jacobs does. I did like the Marshawn Lloyd pick. He's a very explosive kind of player. I mean, seen him at USC. Yeah, he's got that explosive talent. Now, and yeah, A.J. Dillon, good backup. But their wide receivers, I mean, there's plenty of young talent here. We've already named them. My question for the wide receiver core is, okay, there's clearly a lot of young talent here. Who is going to make the biggest stride this season? Like, who is going to show the rest of the league, okay, I am the number one guy on this team? That's my big question with the receiving core, because I really think they have a strong receiving core. Very strong, very young receiving core. But my only question is, okay, who's going to be the number one guy? I mean, my bet's Christian Watson, but
Yeah,
obviously I expect there will be some good challengers from other guys like, Dobbs, Reed, and even, even guys like Mellon or Wicks. And obviously, Luke Musgrave, talented tight end. Like, this is a strong weapons core for Jordan Love. I like what they got here for him. And this is in terms of, like, roster, in terms of defense, like, I like the defense they have. This is a talented defense. My main question is, how will Jeff Hafley do with this defense? Like, that's my one big question with the defense. I expect it will be better than it was under the under the defensive coordinator that Packers fans would never stop complaining about. Yeah, Joe Barry.
I'd hold my horses on that, because we had this exact same conversation when Mike Pettin got fired.
Oh yeah, that's
I
true.
don't know why
That
Mike
true.
Pettin was just like I think Gage of all people would be able to tell us just how bad he was.
Oh, I can tell you how bad he was too. As a rival fan, he consistently made Dalvin Cook look like 2012 Adrian Peterson.
I mean, my thing is this though: if Jeff does very well with this defense, then okay, that's gonna only make the Packers scarier. Because hey, this is a talented defensive core. If they get even better, it's gonna be honestly possibly even scarier than last season. Obviously, that's not a scenario I want to see happen, but it's something that's very believable. So, the Packers, it's a very well-built roster in my opinion. Like, as David noted, not really a lot of holes on this roster, but my only question, like my big question for the Packers this season is, can Jordan Love show that he's a great quarterback? We know he's a good one. Can he be a great one? Do I hope he's a great one? Absolutely not. But as a Bears fan, it's obviously worth noting that I have only seen one season as a Bears fan where the Bears have been better than the Packers. That is sad to say, but it's the reality. And unfortunately, until things change, I can't help but expect that the Green Bay Packers are still going to be here until they get eliminated. And until they get eliminated, I'm going to have to live knowing that the Packers are still the goddamn Green Bay Packers.
Hey, if it's any consolation, Minnesota and Green Bay have just decided to split the series until the heat death of the universe.
Yeah, which is fair.
I do want to chime in real quick about Green Bay. They are the only team that I think can win against any team, but also lose against any team. They are very much an any given Sunday kind of team, at least in my opinion. Because I feel like this is a team that is way too young and way too inexperienced to know when to win games and to know when to clutch up. Like we saw it last year. Games like the Giants, that if you play that game again 9 times out of 10, Green Bay beats them. But you want to know something? The Giants were the more experienced team, and they beat them.
They beat the gabagool out of them, man. The fucking pretty much all of them.
And look at the Raiders, like the Raiders game last year too. Like that was pure experience as well. So like, they're one
Also,
of
don't
the
forget
rare
that was
teams.
the Josh McDaniels Raiders.
Yeah, so like, I think they can truly beat any team and lose to any team. Because you just don't beat the Chiefs and then lose to the Josh McDaniels Raiders. You just don't. Well, and I say that because it leads into this. They are truly, in my opinion, they could win 17 games. They could win 0 games. And I normally say that, and normally it's like, haha, that's a joke. But I genuinely mean it with this team. Their ceiling is way super high. they have a lot of things they can accomplish. But at the same time, their floor is like potentially like one of the biggest
Tank ball
atrocities ever
contenders.
thrown out on. Yeah, like one of the biggest atrocities thrown out to a football field because these people aren't experienced enough.
I really thought you were about to go off on the Packers fans when you said these people, but then I realized that would require acknowledging them as people. Looking directly at you, Pete Bukowski.
Isn't that the guy that said the not Justin Jet, Jesus.
That's
Christian
Bruce
Watson's
Irons.
ceiling is, oh, okay.
That's Bruce Irons.
Which one's he?
But I will say,
They're the same person
He's
in my
the-
mind, because they're same.
Bukowski
he's
is the
the
one
one-
who allegedly had fun times with his dog.
He what?
Allegedly.
for the,
What the Sigma?
look up Peter Bukowski and dog in the same sentence.
I don't want to.
Yeah. So, yeah,
Good.
on Twitter, he just responded to one of them by saying, "Take this bullshit down, or you'll
Whoa.
be hearing from my attorneys.
Yeah,
I'm not
that guy.
fucking around."
He's the I know. Okay, he's the lawyer guy. I didn't
Yeah.
know that's what that was in response to, but I do know the lawyer guy.
Yeah.
That's still not as bad as Ben Albright though.
You mean the
Ben
guy?
Albright has me blocked on Twitter.
He has
Yeah.
me blocked too.
But yeah, Bruce Irons, an absolute fucking legend. Christian Watson
way-
has a higher ceiling than Justin Jefferson. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a legend. That's a legendary take for all the wrong reasons. By the way, I looked up. Yeah, I actually did the favor. I looked it up, and first thing I see is a thread from Packers Reddit talking about Peter Bukowski, and they're just all. Even Packers fans are like shitting on this dude.
Is he the? He must be the Packers equivalent of that purple FTW podcast for the Vikings. Or
Oh,
whatever it is
God.
called.
Yeah.
No,
Rick Sosa.
he's the Skip. He's the Greg. He's not the Greg. He's the.
Clap Dan.
He's the
Oh, God,
Skip
not
Bayless.
Dan.
He's the Skip Bayless of Packers Twitter accounts.
Clapped racist.
Yo, remember when I got Clapdan banned off the app for about like 3 months?
I didn't know you did that. That's incredible.
That was me.
He's been banned every 5 minutes. I'm surprised everyone hasn't gotten him banned by now. Because all dude has to, like, if you just bring up a non-white quarterback in his presence, he's like, white people do it better, but I'm not racist.
Unless it's
just a fact."
Mahomes.
No,
Unless it's Mahomes. Which,
yeah,
like,
except for Mahomes.
truly shows to Mahomes that man can ascend.
Mahomes is so good, he's
ascend
ascended racist.
racism.
He has crossed racial boundaries because he's so good at throwing a football.
Now I have to hear like
True.
fucking "I Have a Dream" in that warbly ass frog voice.
I'm Patrick Mahomes. I shoot real good.
I have a dream.
Everybody gangster till the CIA kills Mahomes.
Yo,
Shit.
yo, that's so true.
Oh my god, what the?
Yo,
Sir, we have to protect Brady's legacy.
true, true.
Guy who
Don't
takes a
look-
shot.
don't look up
This one's for Joe Burrow.
You know what? That's a good point. The CIA won't get to him. It'll be Bengals fans first.
Oh my
John-
god.
Yo, are we gonna talk about how John Wilkes-Borough assassinated?
Wilkes-Borough.
What the fuck?
Oh God.
John
Who's that fucking-
Wilkes-Borough.
Oh no!
What the hell? John Wilkes-Borough.
I'm saving that. I am saving
John
that.
Wilkes-Borough assassinated Abraham Lincoln.
God.
No! It's so bad! Oh
I don't know. I've heard things about Lee Harvey Allen.
no! Oh,
That one doesn't hit as good.
God.
Or
All
well,
right, floor and ceiling. I'm gonna go floor 6, ceiling 14. Very wide range.
I will say a floor of 8 and a ceiling of 14.
I'm gonna go with a floor of 2 and a ceiling of 10.
You really did take
Um,
inspiration from Kendrick.
Yeah, he did.
I'm the
going
biggest hater.
for-
I hate the way that they walk, the way that they talk. I hate the way that they dress. I hate the.
To be fair, I hate the
Yes.
way that they dress too. Packers uniforms are fucking ugly.
Yeah.
I agree.
Don't even get me started
Florence-
on their retro ones that were blue.
Oh, the
Oh
retro.
God. Yeah. Oh God. Oh my God. Yeah. So floor for the Packers. I mean, if things go wrong, I'll go like 6, maybe 7. But ceiling, things go very well. Yeah, I'll give them 14.
Give
Taegan.
the Packers 5 booms. and boom meter.
look. No, I was just completing off that joke because I'm about to tweet out John Wilkes-Borough assassinated Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, that might be one of our best jokes we've told in their entirety doing this. That is the best joke I think we've ever told. I don't know how we're topping this.
And y'all let Taegan get it?
Damn it!
Oh, damn, that's true. Oh, no.
Oh, I
You
hate
don't-
to
hey.
agree with.
Oh,
Hey,
no.
this isn't as good as Elvis Fun Facts.
No.
No.
No! No!
Hey, did you know that Elvis was like the only person that I know that defeated Yami Yugi in a game of Yu-Gi-Oh? Crazy.
Could you do that again? Could you say that again?
Ow.
Elvis fun
Okay, can we
fact.
not do the soundboard? Because I haven't, a new headset somehow
Oh.
doesn't.
My bad.
Yeah, the soundboard will blow my ears out.
We're linking other bits into this.
Why do you think
To
I've
be
not.
fair, even without Luke's headphone issue, like literally, that noise is loud as hell. To be fair.
Yeah, it's.
No,
it's funny.
like
Such a great.
I have you
noise.
guys like everybody here like below 50%, cause this headset is so fucking stupid. Like,
Anyway, yeah.
anywho,
That Elvis fun facts.
that is a
Yeah.
fun fact. I meant I thought Yu-Gi-Oh was the king of games. Nah, it's Elvis. He's the real king of games.
Here's another Elvis fun fact. Elvis is a notorious Eminem hater. To quote Elvis, "I hate that white boy Eminem. He's stealing the rap game from black people. I only steal stuff from black people. What the fuck?"
Oh. I'm glad that was a self-aware joke. I was like, wait a minute.
only I can do that.
That's like my job. That's my job. What are they doing? What are they doing? Taking my job.
What
I
about
play a
you,
game
Dave?
of D&D with an Elvis impersonator.
That'd
Oh,
be
God.
fucking
Do you have
funny.
any Elvis fun facts?
Do I have any Elvis fun?
Yes. What, like,
yeah.
he's the king of. He's the real king of games.
Right. Elvis was the one who actually predicted that the Jets were going to win Super Bowl III. Joe
Oh.
Namath just stole the credit because Elvis was too busy stealing from black culture.
Oh.
Good. You get it. You get the Elvis fun facts. That's so
Uh,
great.
did-
That's
oh,
so
I
great.
got one. I got one. Did you know that that Billie Eilish actually was birthed from Elvis out of his belly button?
I
Billie
want
Eilish?
to say a really morbid one.
You already said your Elvis fun fact.
I
Get the
know. I think
words.
I'll save my morbid one for next week.
For next time on Elvis Fun Fact.
We
It's
forgot
Uh,
Nick.
I am. No, I'm not doing. I'm not. That was
No.
enough. That was enough.
No.
That was enough.
It's okay. I took Nick's thunder.
Yeah,
No,
that's fine.
dude.
That's more than
It's
fine.
okay.
I am
It's
okay with
okay.
that.
All right, let's get on to the
Any-
Bears, boys. Let's get on to the Bears.
The Bears.
You know,
Da Bears.
there's nothing to talk about with this team. We should just skip over it, guys. We should. Yeah, I mean, there's not much
Ari
to talk
Blasting
about,
game.
man.
They're the last
Ari
one.
There we
Blasting
go.
game.
Okay.
Uh,
Anywho,
the number one overall pick in our hearts.
Hell yeah.
anywho, I'm just gonna say this now. I am on my hands and knees, hands clapped together. Dear God, if Caleb Williams isn't the one, this is my last challenge. I'ma be real.
If Caleb's
If
bad,
Caleb
I'm cracking
Williams-
out.
Oh, if Caleb Williams is bad, you'll just turn into like a music reviewer, but you just extensively review Eminem albums.
I'm gonna run
Hey,
out of material
guys,
so fast.
Hey guys, I'm just gonna let you know, Recovery is not that bad of an album. It is actually Eminem's mid music crisis magnum opus. But back to the Bears. I genuinely do not know how the Bears could mess this up. You have every single thing. You've done every single thing right. You have failed in 0 categories in terms of helping this potential quarterback. You have done everything. And if this doesn't work, I genuinely don't know what I'll do. I'll probably still be a Bears fan, but I'll probably descend into madness. I'll be like one of those like Bears fans that like get really fat, who only eats to numb the pain.
You know what you're gonna be?
Listen, if
You're
Caleb,
gonna be one of those guys outside of a 7-Eleven at 3 a.m. You know, just stumbling around, going, "My
Quarterback!
Yes.
My quarterback! I just need a quarterback!
listen, you know, if
We
Caleb doesn't
just
do
got the
well,
first reply to the tweets. Worst tweet ever. Delete your accounts.
I saw that. Oh, that was perfect.
No.
Listen, if Caleb doesn't do well, I think my solution is I am moving to Alaska and cutting off all ties with anyone.
Oh, gee, I hope that doesn't happen."
Same here. Like here, okay. Let's be real. If somehow Caleb, the Bears have done everything right. You have the first overall pick twice. One you absolutely use to completely, launch your team into a viable competitive state that you haven't seen in ages. If the Bears don't do it this year, there's no amount of therapy that Bears fans will go through that could ever undo the damage that will be done if Caleb Williams isn't the guy. And, there's also the people who are, Justin Fields fans. I think there's a lot of people who are still, who still think he could be a starting quarterback. That Caleb Williams doesn't do it, Those are going to be
Take
loud
every comment
people.
you said about Jared Goff being skittish with the pass rush, and also applies for Justin Fields.
I think the
It
thing.
applies to Fields tenfold.
Oh yeah.
I've never seen a man handle pressure worse in my life. That's not true. I watched Mitch Trubisky play football.
Yeah.
I
He
mean,
was
I've
the-
also seen myself. I've seen myself struggle under precarious situations, I think Justin Fields is slightly
But
better
we
than I
we
am.
I
we
was gonna
said
say
this.
Justin Fields is the worst Bears quarterback at handling pressure since the last guy.
Yeah,
Now-
basically.
This is something that I've said for a while. If Caleb Williams had a defense at USC, they would be contending for a natty, right? We saw I saw a lot of good in Caleb Williams. Games where he himself had to completely take over and lead them to victory. I believe Caleb Williams is gonna be fantastic. Totally wholeheartedly believe that. You have the weapons, for Christ's sakes. I think you have the running game to put it all together. It's just, can Caleb Williams do it?
Like, the real question is, like, it's like the talent's here, the roster construction is done where it's needed to be done. I just need to see the on-field results. Like, I want to see it. That's my thing. I just want to see what happens when these guys get onto the field, because we know the talent here. We know the youth, the young talent, getting Caleb Williams, getting Romo Dusney. Like, I love what we have here, but I just want to see it. I want to see it on the field.
Mm-hmm. Right, and
Yeah, and quite honestly, I'm tired of the Bears being a boring 6-10, 5-11 franchise. Like,
You're tired of it?
yeah, I'm sorry.
You're tired of it.
My brother in Christ, you got there's lots of Bears fans here that are literally on their hands and knees
I
begging.
get that I'm coming at this from an outsider, but it's not even fun to watch you guys anymore, because it's like a really pathetic clown show at this point.
Yeah,
That's
theoretically.
how you really feel.
How about
Well, when
to
I was
quote
like,
Spencer?
when I saw
I-
somebody had stolen $100,000 of equipment from Soldier Field, I was like, yeah, that sounds about Bears.
Yeah.
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 Okay, let me just say this. To quote Spencer, 10% of Bears fans are genuinely cool people, while 90% of them are mouth-breathing imbeciles. Something
Tegan has to
along
feel to
those
be part of the
lines.
90%.
Hey, I'm a part of the 10%, dog. He likes me, so I'm
Part
in
of
the
the
club.
10%.
Yeah, you're not the he's not the mouth breather.
Oh,
by
I
a
know.
long shot.
That's the crazy thing. I know.
Yeah.
Everyone's the
I
crazy
know
thing.
the mouth breather. I
Wild.
know. Good lord, I know the mouth breeders. Jesus, no.
They're
No.
Breeders?
so
Not the mouth
sweet.
breeders.
I hate them. I hate them so much.
But yeah, like pretty much every like you can like dredge like the bottom of the barrel on the comments of like the Windy City like post, and you know, and it'll just be like, like, oh yeah, fucking, this is my idea of a Chicago accent. Oh God.
I mean, the Bears are probably, this is the team I'm going to watch the most this year. I think it's whole division. I mean, here's the thing. I'm more of I'll sit back. I'm going to embrace the chaos of whatever, football does for me. That's kind of how I've always been, right? Sure, I'm going to watch the Seahawks. Yeah, absolutely. But, let's be honest. I think they're going to be 8-9. Like, come on. But it's like the Bears, they've done all this, they've had other teams tank for them, they've had done all this, and this is the results. Now, if it's not the year, I don't think it's the end of the world. They like if you're 8-9 and you miss the playoffs, but you see that you're just a little bit more. Right? The Bears still have a very early second round pick from the Carolina Panthers. That, I mean, depending upon how their season goes, I think they're going to trade. They might be forced to trade that one away, or at least their own. To add, I think they're going to be another team that yet again is going to be looking to make a splash at the deadline. I mean, I'm ready for the Bears to actually be something this year. I am ready for it. I think all of us are ready for it. This is going to be the most exciting team to watch. I hope Roma Duzne balls out. We're going to see, DJ Moore be an absolute baller like he was last year. Like, even on top of that, what if I told you they have Keenan Allen?
Who might be dangled at the deadline.
No, why? Why are you going to dangle Keenan Allen at the deadline?
Well, because
Okay,
he's
some
excess
desperate
goods
ass-
on this team.
Well, he's
Not
excess.
really.
He's
That's
Not
how
really.
loaded this receiver core is.
Okay, the only issue with that, I would agree, but there's not a lot of depth at wide
Yeah,
receiver.
I
Like
agree.
Tyler Scott and Colin Johnson are cool, but if either of them are one of your top 3 receivers, all of a sudden you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want them as wide receivers 3. Not
As
not
4
right
and
now.
5,
I really don't.
great, perfectly acceptable. 3,
Yes.
not so much. So like Keenan's only on a 1-year deal. If they don't extend him, I very much expect Chicago to be either active on a 3rd receiver in free agency. I don't know what the class looks like off the top of my head, or use one of their 2nd-round picks on a receiver in the draft. Like dangling Keenan at the deadline would be like DEFCON 5. The Bears are bad and we have nowhere to go. Let's stack up picks and try again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think he is better suited as like a wide receiver 1 or 2 rather than a 3.
He's
I
good.
would say he's the 2
I mean,
right
He's
now.
the 2. He's the 2. I think.
Just because
I
Rome
mean,
hasn't played yet.
Also, I really
I
think
wanted
Rome's
to
gonna
ask you,
have
what's-
a season like JSN had, where you're gonna be focusing on developmentals. He's gonna have games where he's gonna look absolutely amazing. Don't get me wrong, right? But as of now, we're gonna have to wait and see what he can do on the field. Where you have DJ Moore and Keenan Allen, who are proven to be an absolute studs at the NFL level.
Well, the thing about JSN, he had a certain competitor who looks very good at camp right now. And
Jake
his name?
Bobo.
Bo.
Jake
Yeah,
Bobo is
Bo
setting
Weaver.
himself up to be the number 3 guy. The dude is doing everything right. I think he should make this team. But we're not talking about the Seahawks. We're talking about the Bears.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're going to be
The
looking.
cult of Jake Bobo.
I know when we're in this show, you are an automatic Jake Bobo stan. So that
So the cult of Jake Bobo's not fun. You guys should be the Bobo Boys.
the Bobo boys.
The Bobo boys.
I
yes!
love that.
No. These are the Bo Weavers.
Yes.
That also works.
Shut
I
up,
like that.
Taegan.
Mhm.
I like Bobo Boys more because I came up with it. But
Yeah, and also, do you really
Okay,
trust
for a
Bobo
way.
Leavers? I mean, Taegan came up with it.
Okay. Here's the thing. Taegan's got good ideas. It's
plus, to Spencer's credit, Bobo Leavers. That would imply that you Bo-leave in Bo. You guys Bo Knicks fans?
Is that
what I'm hearing?
No.
There's some branding issues there.
Oh, you just got
Ooh,
roasted.
Now, if it was the Bo Leavers, then that would be a different thing.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a mouthful. Whereas the Bobo Boys,
Yeah, that rolls off the tongue, or
Mhm.
yeah,
the cheeks, rather.
it rolls somewhere. And that's what counts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to echo back to something Luke mentioned earlier with Caleb at USC, in terms of him having to take over, right? Him in a lot of games really having to be the offense, or for lack of better words, really the team in his final year. I feel like that has really misconstrued a lot of the perception of Caleb as a football player. Because, there's this whole narrative that he's not able to play in structure, he's not going to be good in the pocket, He's too reliant on wanting to be the hero, the man, the, Superman, right? He wants to make the big play every single time.
Aaron Rodgers syndrome.
Right. The problem is, when you are at USC, your wide receivers aren't good, your offensive line isn't good, and your defense is abysmal, and you're going up against powerhouse college teams every week. You have to do that if you're the quarterback and you have the ability to. Whereas now, as Luke was also saying, with how loaded this roster is, with how well constructed it is, he is in such a better spot to sit and play from the pocket and make the big plays. His first NFL completion, asterisk, depends on how you feel about preseason stats counting, was him maneuvering in the pocket, stepping up and delivering a throw over the middle of the field on third down. That's something that Justin Fields couldn't do in his wildest dreams, that Mitch Trubisky couldn't do consistently, and people were trying to say Caleb couldn't do out of college.
Gosh, remember when people were memeing on Trubisky not being able to throw left?
And then it became true?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, I wanted to say this real quick. One thing that really frustrated me with the Bears all last season was Justin Fields' refusal to throw in the middle of the field, no matter where it was. It was very infuriating to see him throw to the left, to the right, and then never see him throw to the middle. Because it's like...
He didn't trust him.
That's where you're going to... Well, he trusted himself with his legs, and that really helped him out so much. Oh, sarcasm, by the way.
And of course, we have to talk about, with the Bears, the biggest comeback player of the year, Matt Eberflus's beard. Holy cow.
Oh, true.
Dude, Flus got hot overnight, and now the Bears are good. I don't think that's a coincidence.
Yeah, I don't think it's a coincidence.
I think God gave Flus aura, and all of a sudden the Bears are like, all right, we got to catch up. It's time. Because think about it. The coaches we've had in my lifetime, Lovey had aura. Everyone loves Lovey. The Bears were good under Lovey. Mark Trestman, the husk of John Fox, Matt Nagy. Come on, man. Where's the spice? Where's the chutzpah? Where's it at? None of it. Flus,
I mean, to be fair, Nagy had aura in his first season.
Not
he
really.
Lost
Vic
it
Fangio
in
did. Vic Fangio brought that Italian swagger to the defense, and that's why we were good in 2018.
That Italian swagger.
Then
that
Vic left, and all of a sudden, the Bears fell apart. Now Flus comes in, he's got a beard, he wears fucking Jordans casually. I have the same pair of shoes that Matt Eberflus is wearing on Hard Knocks the other day, dude. Like, he knows what's up. We have a coach that just passes the vibe test, and it's the first time we've had it since I was, like, little.
Oh, I feel the exact same way, going from, like, pudgy, curmudgeonly Mike Zimmer to Chad Dude Bro Kevin O'Connell.
What I will say, the only negative thing about the Bears is I'm not 100% sold on Eberflus yet. That's the one thing that will hold this team back is Matt Eberflus.
Can I try to change that real quick?
I welcome you to change my mind, but again, to me, it's I'm more of a person that's a wait and see.
Sure, and I understand that, but let me just show you the vision with Eberflus, right?
Okay.
I'm not even saying you have to change your mind. Just where the optimism comes from.
Oh yeah.
In the 2 years that he's been in Chicago, the wins haven't been there, for sure. No denying that. But look at the way the culture shifted. Under Matt Nagy, the Bears hated that man. People didn't want to come to Chicago. No one was excited about playing in the Windy City. You had that one big year in 2018, and then the feud with Trubisky started, and all the veterans wanted out. You hear the veterans that were on that team talk about Nagy and talk about his practices. Everyone despised it, and Ryan Pace fed into it too. Now you have Ryan Poles as the GM, who is younger, he's hip, he's fun, he's like a player's GM where he cares about his guys, which is shown perfectly by the DJ Moore extension that happened out of thin air. Like, he wants to make sure his guys are taken care of. Eberflus is an extension of that. He's the type of guy that, again, culture-wise, just personality-wise, he's like a fun uncle. He's like even better, he's like a fun dad. He's given all the players nicknames. He's walking around and, just feel like you watch the Hard Knocks and him walking through all the players stretching and stuff. He's got this confidence to him, this, natural charisma to him. Yeah, he's a little awkward at times, but like, what good dad isn't, right? And that extends to the players, where you start to see the players start to feel themselves a little bit. You watch Hard Knocks, you see Keenan Allen and DJ Moore riffing off of each other, cracking jokes. You see Roma Dunze making fun of Caleb's haircut and being like, he looks like a NCAA created player. Like, that fun, bubbly energy, but also
Yeah.
the tough, like, you need to get work done now, and then you can enjoy it, then you can have fun. That extends from Eberflus. That's him. And then on top of that, the defense, the way it transformed last year, not only from a schematic perspective, because Eberflus traditionally is very much a zone-heavy guy. He comes from the Gus Bradley realm of belief where he wants to run a lot of zone. He wants to run a lot of cover 3. He saw last year that that wasn't working, and when they added Montez Sweat, they started to get a pass rush. You see Jalen Johnson, he's best in man. You see Tyreek Stevenson, he's best in man. You see Kyler Gordon, he's best in man. What's Eberflus do? They turn into one of the most man-heavy defenses in the league. They have a top 5 defense to end out the season. And all they did was added one player. That one player was able to blow everything up. That was Eberflus's idea. That was Eberflus's guy he wanted to bring in. He was able to take that one player, just one single pass rusher, and turn the Bears' defense from a total joke, one that led up, like 50 to the Chiefs or whatever it was, to one that was consistently
Yeah, it was
going toe-to-toe.
41-10.
Right. Either way, let up 40 points to the Chiefs, to one that was consistently going toe-to-toe with really good offenses. And not only going toe-to-toe with them, but getting the best, or getting the better of good quarterbacks and of good offenses. We talked about the Lions last year. I know I'm not super high on Goff, or earlier. I know I'm not super high on Goff, but he made Goff look bad. Not pedestrian, bad. That is saying something. To completely make Goff go lose his shit, fumble the bag, and turn from a point guard into, Jalen here, that's an accomplishment. And he was doing that week in and week out. He had big games against Jordan Love. Like, Eberflus has done wonders with very little. The culture's completely shifted. People want to play for the Chicago Bears. And the defense is really good.
You know, he's squeezed a surprisingly competent amount of football from something called the Tyson Bagent last year.
A D2 quarterback
Respect
from
Tyson
Shepherd.
Bagent.
I love Tyson. Listen, Tyson went to high school an hour away from where I grew up. Love Tyson Bagent. You should not be winning football games with Tyson Bagent with the roster the Bears had last year.
Fair. I did want to chime in real quick and say a couple things. I do agree with everything you say. Like, for an example, to bring in how bad Matt Nagy was, he was touting out people like Demetrius fucking Harris as, like, players that will change our offense. And
I
the
love
fact of the matter,
Demetrius, but yeah, that ain't it.
not to mention too, Matt Eberflus necessarily did not have a football team in 2022. Like, if you look at anybody on defense, who did he have on defense? He had a rookie Jaquan Brisker who was injured for a good bit of the season, and a rookie Kyler Gordon who was injured for a good bit of the season.
And Jalen.
Their best defensive player, I believe, was Justin Jones that season.
Wait, wasn't Yannick Ngakoue on that team too?
That was 2020.
That was last year.
Oh,
That was
my
last
bad.
year, yeah.
And like when Matt Eberflus finally got an edge rusher to, enhance the team, you want to know what happened with Chicago? They turned around and went from a team that was like 2-6 to a team finishing the season 7-10. That is a positive record to finish out the season.
Yeah, I could never see Matty McDonald's manager pull that one off.
I will say,
Yep.
the team was very different when they acquired Montez Sweat. I think.
Yeah.
I will say that.
And I do want to say this. I want to say this real quick. The Bears still have the Panthers' second-round pick, and they're looking to be a team that's going to get a top pick. So, who's to say that maybe the Bears don't try to swindle a Trey Hendrickson away from out of nowhere? So,
By the way, just before Luke comments, first off, gotta say, Yeah, shout out McDonald's hamburgers legend Matt Nagy. Secondly, um, for me with Eberflus, when I really noticed, like, because obviously I had my doubts at first when we, decided to keep him after last season, but when I really noticed that, like, hey, you know what? I can believe in this move. I can believe in this. When I really noticed it was when I heard the comments from, like, defensive players, like guys like Sweat, Johnson, Brisker, all those guys. And like I heard their comments and they had nothing but positive things to say about him. They were saying, "Hey, we hope he's back. We believe in what he's, creating here, and we really believe that, if he stays, like, then we got something cooking here." And it felt very genuine. Like it was very clear they really liked playing for him. And then you contrast that, like you contrast like what the defensive players were saying about Eberflus, and you compare it to what the offensive players were saying about Luke Getsy, and you see a completely different picture. Because let me tell you, I was watching some of those interviews last season, and good God, they hated Luke Getsy. Like it was obvious they did not like that man.
You know, that's the thing too. Like, if we're gonna throw blame at a coach, we know who it is.
Yeah, I heard it was.
Yeah.
I heard so many negative things about
Yeah.
Luke Getsy.
And not only that, but you have to consider too, Eberflus, his first year in Chicago, he wasn't running the defense. He was letting Alan Williams run the defense because he really wanted to do the whole CEO thing, where he does a little bit of everything. That didn't work, and Alan Williams departed from the Bears for reasons. And then as soon as Flus took over, that's when the progress started. And then you add Montez, that jump starts the whole operation. Like, I understand not being completely sold on Flus. Like, I'm not saying you have to be like, yeah, this is the Bears coach for the next decade. Obviously, I understand that completely because he hasn't won a lot yet. But I think there's plenty of reason to feel that that's certainly within the realm of possibility, if not more probable than him getting fired anytime soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Also, I just like his aura.
I was gonna say, yeah, like if analytics aside, real critical thinking aside, he's got aura.
Like
Yeah,
fuck the
truly.
like fuck those fucking nerds who talk about shit like, oh, his touchdown to interception ratio. Bro has aura.
When
Look,
Flus
I'm just
steps
saying.
up to the podium, people listen, and that's what
Look,
matters.
I'm just saying right now, Justin Fields had weak aura because he had to blame the coaches, while Matt Eberflus had fuck it, we ball aura.
Yeah.
Listen, there's some people that look better with beards, some people that look better without them. Eberflus is one of the guys who definitely looks better with a beard.
A beard and a fresh cut. He had to slick back
Yes.
his hair. He's got like that, he's got like a little bit of a mob boss thing going on.
Like this, almost like what Ben McAdoo wishes he would see in his dreams.
I see a dream where I was right about Geno Smith.
Man, fucking what is Ben McAdoo up to today? I wonder.
I forgot Ben McAdoo existed. That's crazy.
Oh my God, he's currently the senior offensive assistant for the Patriots.
Oh boy.
Drake Rudd.
AKA, he's the guy that's gonna be fetching coffee for everybody. Got it.
It's like he suggests offensive plays just so Gerard Mayo can throw it into the garbage.
It's like the one episode of Family Guy where they cut away to the Beatles and it's like, Ringo wrote a song. Oh, we're gonna put it on the fridge so everyone can see. That's Ben McAdoo's role with the Patriots.
Yeah, he basically holds the footballs and hands it to whoever the hell is needing a football right now.
He hands it to the guy who hands it to the guy. I cannot have Ben McAdoo talking to or interacting with his
That's funny. Okay, so I'll like to quickly finish, my point here. I mean, it sounds like especially hearing from perspective from Bears fans, sounds like you guys got your guy, and I hope I see that come Sunday. I really do, right? Because it could have the effect where maybe I'm not super sold on a coach or a player, but then you like last year I wasn't sold on Dan Campbell as a head coach. Last year played out. I'm now sold on Dan Campbell as a head coach. Could easily be one of those. The man that needs to be given the most credit is Ryan Poles. This dude,
Poles, baby.
Ryan
Lord and
Poles.
Savior.
Real quick, I did want to say something about the whole Drake May thing. David, I have bad news. Senior offensive assistant Ben McAdoo will play a significant role in Drake May's developments.
Yeah, he's fetching the footballs that Drake May will throw to develop.
Yeah, see?
And then handing them to someone else and to Drake.
The one thing I was told by Mayo and by multiple people, Ben McAdoo is going to have a huge role for Drake May. They think he's a quarterback savant, and there's a thought that he can develop Drake May.
Yeah, dude,
Not
this
saying
really
that he's
this really just sounds like someone trying to hype up their brother who's a little slow. Like, I'm not. That might be a little harsh, but you know what I mean. Like, where you've got your friend that's like, listen. He's not all there, but trust me, he knows what he's doing. Like,
he has a killer nacho recipe. Hear me out.
Listen, Drake never gonna go hungry on game day again. Trust me. This dude knows how to flip a burger.
Yeah.
He learned from Matt Nagy.
Yes! Yes!
Holy shit.
I tagged you in the tweet, David.
I see it.
Oh my god, don't trust
and
me.
I also got you in another one.
I mean, like, if you think of it this way, who else is gonna hand him the footballs? Sure, key thing in development, like, he's gonna make sure, that Drake May's he's gonna be holding a football at all times.
Make sure they're properly inflated too, otherwise,
true.
Have we ever considered that maybe Ben McAdoo was the one that inflated those footballs?
He was playing the long game.
This is gonna get me hired by the Patriots in 10 years.
He was like scouting. Probably like Drake May in like elementary school. Like, this guy's gonna be an NFL quarterback. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna deflate the balls for New England so I can guarantee my chance.
Yeah, he's doing this whole monologue, and the fucking recess teacher has to come over and be like, "Sir, we cannot have you watching the children. Look at that tight spiral."
Oh god.
He's just rubbing his.
Best episode ever? Maybe? Question mark?
I don't know. It's hard to top off when we talked about March Madness.
I mean, oh yeah. Hey, David, did you know that the best time to get a vasectomy is during March Madness?
What?
It's real. It's real. Like, because there's so many games going on at once, it's the perfect time to just rest up while you let your balls heal.
I suppose I see the logic. Yeah, no,
That was we were trying to have a serious thing, but then we just ended up talking about vasectomies for half an hour.
Honestly, that's
Yeah.
Yeah, it figures that the only episode I'm not a part of.
I do want to add real quick, Taegan and Nick, I want to get your opinion on something here. So, it's already been floated around the idea of the Bears trading a second-round pick to get, like Taegan said, like a Trey Hendrickson or someone of that value, and they called about Matt Judon. I don't see that as like a need. Like, sure, it would be really nice to have, but
you're just saying that because you're hard for Austin Booker.
Can you let me talk?
That.
Can you let me talk? Can you let me explain myself?
I think that's perfectly reasonable.
Grown-ups are talking. Sure.
Shut up, you fucking hot dog hater.
Yeah, go eat a hot dog, buddy. But no, in all seriousness, DeMarcus Walker's like good. I don't know why Bears fans pretend he's not. sure, he's not a game breaker. He's not a number one edge by any means, but like he's a really good run defender on early downs, and he can get to the quarterback enough. And then yeah, I am going to talk about Austin Booker. Have you watched him play football? Have you seen what he's done in
Yes.
the preseason?
Yes.
He's really
been
fucking good
great.
at that whole rushing the passer thing. He's really good at
Not
it.
really.
Yes.
Like,
You got.
yeah,
I
got
want
really
him to
good.
start.
I don't
think
think
Austin.
he starts. He's gonna need a little bit of development to start. And when I say development, I mean he needs to put on like 15 pounds. Just because he was a 3-4 outside linebacker at Kansas. He's a little undersized. He's like 240 right now. And that's just a little small to be playing a 4-3 end. But I think they have something there. Like, I don't think they need to panic and give up a bunch for an edge rusher that they'll then have to pay.
I get where you're coming from. Real quick, I am going to say in regards to Austin Booker, just tell that man to go to Popeyes and have him eat like 30 biscuits there.
Get him on that
You'll
Kelvin
get
Benjamin
50
diet.
Yes,
Oh
yeah.
God.
Get him
Seafood
get him
diet.
there.
Seafood eating.
Yes.
But like,
Give him that
but
gumbo.
like genuinely though, like, I think Edge would be good, at least for now. If you're going by the mentality of, oh, you're not gonna pay this guy, then like, I'm still fine with that. That's the thing. I want Caleb's first year to be like, here's what the Bears will look like if everything goes right. Because when it's year 3 and year 4, when they have the chance to get that back, I want them I want them to have an idea of what they'll look like right now. So, and that's kind of how I've been with Keenan Allen, because I know Keenan Allen isn't going to really get resigned, because I don't see how I don't see how it fits Ryan Poles' MO to get a guy who's like, to re-sign a guy that's like 34 years old, because if, like, recently he really hasn't re-signed a lot of the older players on the Bears squad.
No.
But I think it's worth it to kick the tiles with Trey Hendrickson. Or if you're going to at least if you're going to at least use a pick on something that's going to develop you more, then maybe don't get edge rusher and try to focus more on offensive line.
Yeah,
I know offensive line isn't really hard. I know offensive line is hard to come by, especially out of nowhere, but like, you got to find a way to replace Nate Davis, because if we got into talking about Nate Davis and that entire thing, we'd be here probably until sunup. But
And how many times have I heard about Bears fans calling Sam Mustipher literally Hitler?
Well, you know,
he wasn't Hitler. He was at least Mussolini. There's a difference.
I have not watched a worse center play football in my years. Granted, I don't have as many as other people here, but I feel like I've had enough to make that statement that to mean something.
Yeah, sorry, me and Spencer.
It was horrible. It was horrible watching him. But regarding my thoughts on this, I mean, first off, whenever watching Austin Booker so far, definitely give me the same reaction that freaking Plankton had when he was constantly saying yes whenever he saw a Krabby Patty. But in terms of like the second round pick and all of that, use it for something like get more edge guys or all that. Personally, for me, it's like it depends on who the guy is. Like if it's someone like a Hendrickson or something, like okay, I get that. But if it's like if it's something where it's like
Riddick.
No, I don't
Yeah.
want Reddick on my fucking football
Yeah.
team.
Me
dude.
neither. I don't want him.
yeah,
dude,
my
too much drama.
issue with there's just too much drama with Reddit for me to like want to give up like a second rounder for him.
Right.
But
Give up-
but
I
if
wouldn't
it's like
give up
like
anything for Reddick. Plus, I don't think he can play in
Yeah.
a 4-3.
yeah, because honestly, it's like, but if it's like a great guy, then it's like okay, I'm all ears for this. Like I want to see what's the possibilities here. But obviously, for me, it's like I know how I I'm obviously very confident in Poles' drafting ability, and it's like even if we don't get anyone like with using that pick, it's like what if we just have to draft someone with it, perfectly fine, more than fine by me. We know what we're getting from Poles, and usually it's something very good.
Oh shit! I forgot. You guys have DeAndre Swift as your running back.
Yeah,
Solid depth. Solid depth.
he's the starter.
Solid starter. I
Yeah,
like.
Swift is the one area of this team where I'm really conflicted. Like, real quick, just to say, with the whole trade thing.
Roshan
Yeah,
Johnson,
listen,
crazy.
if Hendrickson became available and the Bears were able to swing him, sure. Like, I'm not gonna be against it. If you can swing Hendrickson for a second, by all means. But I'm just saying, like, I don't think the Bears have to be down bad for an edge like they were at the deadline last year. But with DeAndre Swift, he's conflicting for me because I've never been a huge Swift guy. But
You're not a
ironic-
huge Swiftie.
I love Tay-Tay.
Oh, there you go. Okay, my
DeAndre.
my wife is happy. My wife is happy.
Yeah,
wife
no,
is
I love
happy.
Tay-Tay, but DeAndre, I have conflicting feelings with. Because when I'm evaluating a running back, the biggest thing I care about is how do you see the field? If a hole opens up across the line, are you going to be able to locate that? If there's a tiny sliver of daylight, are you going to hit that at the perfect moment? DeAndre Swift is somebody that I don't want to say can't do that, but I also can't confidently say can, because he's been behind great offensive lines throughout his entire career, for being real. Like in Detroit, he was there when they started to build up the line to be really good. Goes to Philly, obviously running behind the likes of Jason Kelsey, Lane Johnson, my Australian king, Jordan Mailata. Like, he hasn't had to run behind a line, especially an interior like Chicago's, where it's good, but there's going to be times where there's going to be a lot of congestion, and you're going to have to find that sliver of daylight. Like Gale Sayers used to say, give me 18 inches of daylight, that's all I need. I don't know if Swift has that, right? But on the flip side of things, he gives the running back room something they just don't have in terms of dynamism. He's faster than everybody else they have. He's a better pass catcher than everybody else they have.
Faster than Herbert?
Yeah, Herbert's really not that fast. Like,
Is it just Herbert's elusive? Is that the thing that's with
Herbert
him
is
then?
good at making guys miss, and he's got really, really good vision. Herbert, so the way I view running backs, in terms of like an archetype, so to speak, you have your elusive back, you have your power back, and you have your one cut back, right? An elusive back is, to keep it NFC North themed, Jahmyr Gibbs. A power back is Josh Jacobs. A one cut back is David Montgomery. Where you got a little bit of both in your game, but primarily what you're winning based off of is your vision and your ability to make that first cut towards the line of scrimmage and just break free. That's what David Montgomery's made a career off of. He's not the fastest guy, he's not the strongest guy, but he sees the field very, very well. Khalil Herbert is in the same vein. Granted, I don't think Herbert is as good as Montgomery is. I honestly think Khalil Herbert, and I've had this opinion for a little while now, is a little bit overrated by Bears fans. But he gets the job done.
Oh, 100%.
The way I look at
I
this
agree.
running back room right now, you have Swift as your lead and your big play threat. You have Roshan Johnson as your true between the tackles grinder power back, with upside to be a little bit more, because I love Roshan. I was a huge fan of his coming out of Texas. And Herbert's, I don't want to say the odd man out, because he does have a role still. He's like your change of pace guy. But Herbert's honestly someone that, like, if someone called up, say Dallas was like, hey, we'll throw you a fourth for him, I'd take that. Because
Yeah,
really,
100%.
definitely.
You want to know
Even-
what I think? I think Ian Wheeler is better than could be better than Herbert. I think if
I
we
like
gave Ian
Ian
Wheeler
Wheeler's-
the start.
I mean, I'm not going to jump to that conclusion yet, because we've only seen him play limited preseason snaps, but I did like what I saw, and I liked him a lot on Hard Knocks. I think he's a very smart player. I think he's somebody who works his tail off. Being an HBCU guy, obviously he has a steeper hill to climb than everybody else, but I would like to see him make the roster. And even if it's not him, Travis Homer is a really good pass blocker, has really good special teams ability. Like, Herbert is somebody that's always going to make big plays, but he's somebody that right now I feel like, you were talking about excess goods earlier with Keenan Allen. I think if anyone's excess goods, it's Khalil Herbert. And I wouldn't be saying that if DeAndre Swift wasn't making as much as he is, because you paid him to be a starting back, which I still don't love, but I get it. You had to. I mean, at the end of the day, they had to spend the money somewhere. You know, and it wasn't a
It was
super
either him or
concrete
Barkley.
size. It was either him or
was
Barkley.
either-
You're paying more for Barkley, and I would rather pay I would rather pay. Plus, I don't think Barkley would have wanted to come here. Barkley was pretty set on going to Philly.
Yeah.
Because keep in mind, this
I
is-
will say,
like that when Barkley would have signed, that was still when it was still technically up in the air whether or not we'd keep Fields, and we didn't have Keenan Allen, and we didn't have all these exciting things going on. Like it was still when the Bears were like,
right.
you know, Fields might be the guy, and you might trade the first pick. You know, I don't. If I was Barkley, I won't want to fucking sign with a team that had Justin Fields at quarterback.
Yeah. Well, okay,
Yeah.
here's something that I did want to say real quick to just you. Do you guys think Velus Jones makes this team?
No,
I think he's fighting an incredibly
he's done.
a hard uphill battle. Because everything he does as a receiver, Tyler Scott can do. And Tyler Scott was a more recent pick that's substantially younger and I think better at the gadget stuff. As a returner, everything he does, Khalil Herbert can do, Tyler Scott can do, Travis Homer can do, DeAndre Swift can do. And as a pass catcher, and as a runner, I mean, he's RB5, RB6 on the depth chart. You're not carrying 5 or
Yeah.
6 running backs.
Just so fast. How do you? The thing is, and everyone's been saying this, you try to make that speed work because he has just speed that no one
They're
else really
trying.
has.
Tyler Scott's just as fast as he is.
Travis Homer, by the way, is a Shane Waldron project. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's going to make the team no matter what.
I'm
'cause he has
just-
special teams value.
I'm just
I agree.
saying there's a bit of connectivity there.
Yeah,
Ooh,
there is.
Gerald Everett too. He's
Yeah.
he's
David
Waldron.
Everett, yeah.
Everett,
Here's the
he's
thing.
such an overlooked player, too. He's going to be fun in this
Yeah.
offense. Komet's still
Yeah.
obviously tight end 1, and I don't care what anyone says, one of the 10 best players at the position in the league. But Everett's going to be really fun as that second tight end with how much Waldron likes
Oh
to
yeah,
do.
he's a blast for he's gonna be a blast at tight end too.
Uh-huh. What really
I will
excites
say
me,
this.
though... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say this. I think the Bears have the best tight end room in football.
I still think I'd lean Baltimore.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
too.
go
I'm
that
just saying-
far, but they have a strong room, though, definitely.
I'm just
The
saying they got
only-
Big Dog, they got Everett, and they got Komet. Like
I was gonna say the
that's-
only argument I would see is you have a top 10 tight end, you have a really nice 2, and you have a solid blocking 3. But I would say Likely is better than Everett, and Andrews is better than Komet. And honestly, the third tight end doesn't matter when you don't run 13 personnel or what have you, because you have Pat Ricard on the field every other play. So
Fullbacks represent.
yeah, that's what I was just getting ready to say. What really excites me about the Bears this year is Waldron showing a willingness to use a fullback, which is something that's never been in his wheelhouse. You know, he's a McVay guy. The McVay tree is the Shanahan tree, but you replace the fullback with a third wide receiver, or in Waldron's case, a second tight end. Whereas he's lining up consistently in 21 personnel. You're hearing, like, when the first big sign for me was they asked him about signing with Chicago, about becoming Chicago's offensive coordinators. They asked him about everything he was excited to work with, and he mentioned Kari by name. He didn't just say, you know, we've got some great guys. He was like, yeah, we got Komet, we got Blasting Game, we got more. Like, we've got some dudes. Him throwing Kari's name in there, that was like, oh my god. And now you're seeing him in the preseason running play action out of 21 personnel. You're seeing him not only using it with the starters, but also using it with the 2s and the 3s, meaning that it's like ingrained in his playbook. My theory that Bears fans have shot down all summer, that Kari is a fullback that is so good you make him work in your offense no matter what, is coming true before our very eyes. And even if he doesn't get a ton of looks at traditional fullback, I think he'll see the field as a tight end more than people think. And not only more than people think, more than Mercedes Lewis.
Yeah,
I would
Yeah.
like
he's
if we were
this
to have
generation CJ Ham.
which is ironic because I don't think Kari's that much younger than CJ. I think CJ's like 30 and Kari's 27, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on. CJ is 31, and Kari is
He is
28. So yeah, still 3 years. I was just off on the exact age, but But yeah, no, he's gonna get a lot of looks this year. He's somebody that they were even in the first game, or not the first game with the starters, with Caleb. They were doing split backfield stuff with Kari lined up on one side of Caleb and a back lined up on the other. Like Waldron, I think, has realized what Getsy never did, and that's that he has a weapon in Kari. Because not only is he this incredible blocker, like we saw against Buffalo, he killed Taylor Rapp. Taylor Rapp buried, dead and gone, blew him up on a toss or a stretch play. I think it was a stretch play. But not only that, you look back at what he was doing in Tennessee. He has the ability to take a screen for 40 yards. He can go downfield and make a catch. Like he's not Juszczyk, but he's not that far off. Like he's got the speed, he's got the drive, the intelligence. The problem is Getsy, when he wanted to use him as a weapon, he lined him up at receiver. Kari's not Juszczyk. There is one fullback in the league that you can line up at receiver consistently and be like, hey, go run a route and make a play, and that is Juszczyk. Even the likes of CJ Ham, I don't trust to do that. Alec Ingold doesn't care enough about catching the ball to do that. Hunter Lipke, who is fullback Jesus, I don't think could do that. He's more of a traditional tight end fullback type of player. Because you have Juszczyk with that tight end background playing at Harvard. Like, he was a two-time all-first-team Ivy League player. Whereas Kari, he was a halfback at Vanderbilt. So he's going to catch the ball out of the backfield in a more traditional halfback way. But he also has that ability to play up on the line of scrimmage at tight end. He did that with Waldron. You can do a lot of with Getsy. You can do a lot of motion with him. Like, he's a legitimate X factor on this football team, and that's not just me being haha fullback funny. It's the truth. He's really good at what he does. He doesn't get enough credit for it, and I'm glad Waldron's finally giving him an outlet to do it for. And I will say, I DM'd Kari at the start of the offseason after he signed DeAndre Swift, and he said, I said, you excited to block for Swift this year? And he said, hell yeah, big things coming. So, if not from me, take it from the man himself.
I mean, if you really want to talk about like fullback tight end combos, just for Ted lulz, you could always bring up like fucking Josiah DeGuara, for.
Yeah, he's gonna be playing, I think, fullback in Jacksonville this year. Whereas Green Bay cut their fullback in Henry Pearson, and now they don't have anybody to play that spot.
And which is why they will go 0-17.
Right.
Yes.
They're the only team where I don't know who's playing fullback for them right now. Because, like, Detroit, they got rid of Jason Cabinda, but Rodrigo is playing fullback for them in the back half of the year. So, I don't think it matters, because that's what Cabinda was anyways. He was a converted linebacker, so they're just doing the same thing with Rodrigo. I think Green Bay does have a tight end that I've seen people are saying is lining up there in practice, but I don't know if it's like a guy that'll actually make the roster. I don't know anything about him. It's some D2 tight end I've never heard of, but no. Chicago,
sounds like Goody to me.
True. Yeah. I mean, you got to remember, Goody drafted Josiah DeGuara in the second round to play fullback.
Yeah.
Which, like, for the brand, props to him, but maybe pick a better one. But it is funny that Chicago and Minnesota are two of the teams that legitimately have, like, top 5 fullbacks, and they're in the same division, whereas the other two teams don't know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
It's a lot of parallels between the Bears
and the
Vikings
and Raiders. When you think about it, this year the Raiders are going to use a fullback, and the Chiefs have always used a fullback.
The Chiefs didn't use one last year. They just got one in Carson Steele out of UCLA. Yeah, they let Michael Burton go to the Broncos and stopped using one. They used Jet McKinnon.
Michael Burton.
They let Jet McKinnon play it a couple times, but it was never like as a blocker. It was always
give it up for Jet.
And then the Raiders don't have a fullback on the roster.
They will though, because Luke Getsy uses fullbacks on almost every single.
They're gonna, yeah, but Antonio,
runs.
They'll probably just run a tight end out of the backfield.
Dude, you gotta quit glazing the Raiders as hard as you do.
Like Antonio Pierce. I'll put it this way: if they were going to use a fullback, they wouldn't have let Jakob Johnson go, because Jakob's incredible. Like Getsy wants his fullbacks to block. Like he just wants a blocker. There are not many pure blocking fullbacks better than Jakob in the league right now. So if Getsy cared, or if they were really going to use a fullback, he would be there. Or they at least would have tried to pick somebody up. But Carson Steele on the Chiefs is exciting. A converted power back from UCLA. I like him a lot. Plus, he's wearing 42, which is hard. And reminds me of Anthony Sherman, which makes me happy. But
I thought you were gonna say the rat back real quick. I thought you were gonna say
the rat back? You mean the rat dog?
Yeah, the rat dog. WAU legend.
WAU?
WIU. That's where
WIU.
that's
Yeah,
where he
WIU.
went to school.
He
West
played for
Illinois.
Northern Illinois and Western Illinois, and he wore 25.
Oh, I thought he wore 42 for some reason.
No, he wore 25, and then with the Falcons, he wore 35. But it's ironic you brought up the AFC West because 3 of the 4 teams there have a fullback. Because Steele and then Michael Burton with the Broncos, and then the Chargers are making Ben Mason work, which is funny because he's just been rotting on the Ravens practice squad as a backup tight end / fullback for years. And now Harbaugh's
Wasn't
like Michigan.
Patrick Ricard their fullback?
For the Ravens. And he still is, but Ben Mason was a backup. He was Ricard's backup for like 5 years.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and then Harbaugh was like, ooh, Michigan fullback, gimme. And now the Ravens have some white boy UDFA tight end I've never heard of that set one of the prettiest lead blocks I've ever seen. I saw it on Twitter today, and it's like, they don't miss. They're a goddamn factory. There's never been a time in Baltimore's history where they haven't had a great fullback, and that makes me so happy.
Well, I mean, there was that one time that didn't have a team.
Well, I mean, like the current stint Ravens. Like since the, what was it, 98? Was that the first year?
96.
96. Yeah, since 96, I can't think of a year where they didn't have a great fullback. At least
Yeah.
since the turn of the century. Maybe the first year or two they didn't. I don't know.
That-
But since
that's
the turn of the
a-
century, they've always had one.
That's an interesting fact, you know. As long the Cowboys have never won a Super Bowl during the existence of the Baltimore Ravens.
Coincidence? I think not.
Clearly, you know, Cowboys are anti-fullback or otherwise.
Yeah, fuck. Sorry.
They've got Lipke. It's okay. They've got
fuck
my
you.
king, Hunter Lipke, who is actually going to play this year and is going to get goal line work, which is exciting. Best fullback they've had since Moose Johnston.
Do you think it's time for us to get to floors and ceilings?
I
Or-
think
Yeah.
it
Yes.
is. We
The ceiling
are.
is the roof.
This is quite. I'm having quite the predicament with this one. Floor is 8, ceiling is 15.
Wowza! I love you.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, that is.
If everything goes right, this team's gonna win 15 games. This team has the makeup
And
to win
somehow
15
Dumont Will
games.
be against Green Bay. That's what'll happen.
It's written in the cosmos.
Clearly, I'm gonna have to go fight the Watcher if
Yeah.
Chicago goes 15-2 and 2 losses against Green Bay. I'm gonna have to pull a Deadpool, break the fourth wall, and kill the Watcher.
I mean, you're just gonna be like, man, that MaskedAura guy, he's huffing a lot of paint, but I do see a lot of rookie Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott. I think, you know, this is a team that I think is gonna take the league by storm. I feel like we're glossing over one man that I'm surprised that none of y'all have been saying. Cole Kmet is a top 5 tight end.
We've been saying
We were
Cole Kmet.
talking about Cole
Yeah.
Kmet.
Bring
Oh,
him up.
sorry.
Yeah,
Probably.
You've just been blanking out, you know.
I
man.
probably. I've been up since 7 a.m. Yeah.
Bro is tired.
Oh, keep in mind, I've only had like 1 day off of work in like 5 weeks too, so I'm
Yeah.
also running on that.
Yeah, bro is tired.
Mhm.
As far as my floor and ceiling go, I'm a bit less optimistic. My floor is 5, and my ceiling is 12.
I'm gonna say a floor of 7 and a ceiling of 17. Eat a dick.
Okay,
For me,
I am pansexual.
Well, you know, whatever, your prerogative. You know, whatever floats your boat. I guess I'm
Yeah,
threatening you with a good time then, you know.
Crazy. I will say real quick, I think the Bears' floor is 7. I don't know how you get worse from last year. I genuinely don't. I think their ceiling, I think they can win 12, 13 games.
That's fair.
More.
Now for mine, yes, floor for mine. I'm gonna go 7 because I agree with Taegan. It is very hard to be worse than last year with the pieces you've added, and I really like what we've done. So floor is 7, but ceiling, you know what? I'll go 14. Why not?
Well, David, now's your time to shill.
Chill. Yeah, so you can find me pretty much everywhere at Miller Football. YouTube and Twitter are my big two. I also have a podcast called the Run the North Podcast. We're on YouTube, Spotify, all that different kind of stuff. Hopefully trying to get back into posting on TikTok at Miller Football _ over the next couple months. Going to do some film breakdowns, things like that. But yeah, mainly talk about the Bears and football as a whole. Do a lot of film breakdowns. Dabble in a little bit of Madden. Going to dabble in a little bit of college football 25 over on YouTube here in the coming months. So if you think I'm funny, then I'm sorry, but you should definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel because you'll like it over there.
I believe I did provide links. Links are links to his Twitter, both to his Run the North podcast and to his YouTube channel and to his Twitter are also linked down below. Please do give him a check, and I did put the links down there.
Sick.
And I talked about this earlier, but basically this has been a very interesting preview this time around. We really did try a lot to really put a lot of effort into what we're doing. So real quick, I just wanted to run down all our guests real quick and just give them thanks one more time. Starting with the NFC East, thank you again to Drawplay Dave for coming on and joining us. It was really wonderful to have you, and we hope to have you on sometime in the future. Afterwards, we would like to thank Valente, also known as V Talk Sports, for joining on for the NFC South. It was also a pleasure to have you and to see your interesting profile picture. We also like to thank Sin Anarchy, also known as JJ, for the AFC East preview. You're a great friend of ours, and we absolutely love it every time we talk to you. Obviously, we do want to thank Juggerbear as well for coming in and stepping in and finally becoming a full-time Sickcos member.
Part-time.
Along with part-time. Yeah, but we got some stuff going on with him. Also, too, we'd like to thank Adain for coming in while he's going through some stuff for the NFC West preview. We really do appreciate your work as well. Tyler Weiss, again, it was a really fun podcast going over the AFC West. Obviously, 24 Amper for the AFC South, and right now, David Miller for the NFC North.
And we'd like to thank you, the viewer, for keeping the lights on here, because we're not just streaming in one giant cave in the dark, although that'd be kind of badass.
You guys should start doing that.
That would
Find
be
a cave and claim it.
genius.
Yeah, give me ideas.
Genius.
Make it like your secret hideout.
Our secret hideout is our house.
No. Our secret hideout is Cashman Field. Come on, what are we doing? It's Cashman Field. What are you?
Is it really secret if you just revealed it to the internet?
Shit.
Oh,
I mean,
no.
it's
We need a new one.
Yeah.
I meant the official AAA affiliate stadium. Wink, wink.
Oh Lord.
But yeah, again, it has really been a blast doing these previews, and despite how hectic some of them have been, from literally planning guests to the very last moment, to coming up with such gems like John
Insanity.
Burrow and Insanity, and even some stuff like about a big appendage Drew Lock and him leading the Giants to a 10-win season.
I can't get a
It's,
shout out for the Bobo Boys.
The Bobo Boys. Fuck.
shout out to the Bobo Boys.
Hell
You
yeah.
know where you are.
That was my favorite
But-
personally.
You've heard one episode, so you have it's by default your favorite.
Check out the
Well-
back catalog, folks.
Listen, hold on. One more thing to say before we wrap things up. I just gotta say one more thing because I don't know if we mentioned him or not, but it needs to be said. I believe in Tory Taylor.
Yeah. And Patrick
Right,
Scales.
right.
Yes.
Patrick Scales. Raise his Madden rating, man.
When I grow up, I
But,
want to be Patrick Scales.
Aren't you already an adult? Can't you just be a long snapper?
Can't you just stop existing?
Andrew, shout out
Crazy.
Andrew DePaula too.
Andrew DePaula. Hell yeah, Bears legend.
Can't wait, as of course don't forget, next week is also week 0 of college football.
But once again, thank you to everyone for the support. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah.
This is basically kind of our mid-season finale, I would assume, for the Sickos, because now we're starting to get into overdrive for, the NFL season, and by about 5 or 6 months this time, we'll be going into season 3. So I think this is a perfect mid-season finale that, unlike The Walking Dead, which those mid-season finales, which were fucking 6 months long. I hate that show, by the way.
Hey, 6 months, just like the Godzilla beam.
Oh no.
Oh, God. But,
Godzilla!
but yes, this has been a very interesting last couple of months, and I couldn't have had a better group of people to do it with. I guess Luke, Nickman, and Carsausage, and I suppose Miller Football as well.
I mean,
You've come a long way since your ball mowers cameo.
something that, as much as you say it's a mid-season finale, I kind of want to go off this last point, and then I think we'll call it a night because it is really late. To think this started by just creating 16 teams for the NHL. This is where this podcast started. Just making a big, long, hilarious inside joke about Salt Lake City Seals. And I feel like it was because of that moment the four of us realized we need to start a podcast.
Dumb little shit post
Something,
got us here.
Something as dumb as manually randomizing a sports game brought us here.
Something about turning a stadium into SpongeBob's Inside Out asshole.
And
brought us
making
here.
it stream piss down everywhere. We all were brought together for that.
Yeah.
And if Salt Lake has a hockey team, but in our hearts they will always be the Salt Lake City Seals. And
God bless
the
this mess.
the Acronage aliens, the
it's the Alaska aliens, Taegan, Alaska aliens.
Alaskan,
And it's the your affiliate is the Anchorage Outlaws. Come on, get it right. What are we doing?
look,
And
I'm a
featured the
negligent
cheapest
owner.
fucking owner I've ever seen.
Yeah, I
In-
don't even give my players a decent meal. Their only form of
Dude, you
entertainment
somehow
is
still
to
have
run the
Wayne
North
Gretzky on your.
podcast.
You had Wayne Gretzky on your team in the first season. I still don't know how the hell that happened.
What?
You had Wayne Gretzky, the greatest hockey player to ever exist, on your team. Crazy. Can't wait to. We'll see what NHL does.
Yeah.
If they don't do anything for Be a Pro, I probably might pass on this version. But then 2 weeks later, you're gonna see me fucking buying it. Oh,
yeah.
well.
Anyway,
Anyways,
thank you for joining us for this really long preview for the NFC North, where we had like some of the best chemistry and jokes, we've ever had. We were on the top of our games, frankly.
I mean, if you don't
Be
think...
sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and also make sure that you spread the word that tavern style pizza is the true Chicago pizza.
Wait, one last announcement. We are starting soon. We'll be releasing the Sickcos guide to the NFL season.
Oh yeah, I gotta
Say-
start. I'll start getting my stuff written after the NFL balance patch, aka cutsies people down to the 53-man roster. I'm gonna start going off of that because injuries may happen. There's still the NFL is still trying to balance out the season. Stop nerfing the Vikings, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.